everybody. Happy Monday. Monday, fun day. Mega Monday. Are we back? How was your holiday? Right now, tell me, how was your holiday? Put it in the chat, man. They're not over. The holidays are not over. We just got Thanksgiving out the way. We got one Christmas, New Year's, but Thanksgiving. Let me know in the chat right now. How was your holiday? I pray it was blessed. I pray you had a blessed holiday. Everybody come on in. Welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines is so important. Welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide. It is so very important. How's everybody doing on this mega mag now live on my channel? Now live. We are now live on my channel. How's everybody doing this mega Monday? How's everybody doing? Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. We're going to have a conversation this morning. We're going to have a conversation this morning. Yeah, we're going to have a conversation this morning. Double tap, hit the like button. Welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. Double tap, hit the like. First person in the chat gets shouted out. First person in the chat gets shouted out without a doubt. First person in the chat gets shouted out without a doubt. Shout out to you, man. Come on in, everybody. Double tap, hit the like button. Let's have a mega Monday conversation. As I keep seeing those M's, I'm touching my, and I don't have my chapstick. Traffic. Looking for chapstick, baby. Chapstick, baby. Oh yeah. Chapstick, baby. Chapstick, baby. Good morning, everybody. It is still top of the mid morning. OG perspective is not noon yet. I came in on time, all the time, every time, perfect time. It is not noon. We getting it going. Top of the mid morning. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Go ahead, do what you're supposed to do, baby. Do what you're supposed to do, baby. Wipe your feet as you come in, man. Wipe your feet as you come in. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on. All right. A lot of news today. Geopolitics. Trump is busy every day. On the weekends, there's so much, man. On the weekends, we blowing up. It's so much. I don't know. This presidency, I'm telling you, man, this presidency it has to be one of the most productive presidencies I've ever been a party to witness. You know what I'm saying? No joke, man. One of the most productive presidencies every day. Every day I'm giving out magnificent facts. It's mega Monday. It's a mega magnificent Monday. All my mega magnificent men in the chat, double tap at the like button. All my mega magnificent men, double tap at the like button, man. So I need you guys to understand this is another productive weekend, even though it's a holiday weekend. We're talking about, what are we talking about? I watched a podcast the other day and they talking about we still live in the shadows of the crack era. And it's very true that we still live in the shadow. We talk about the crime bill. When we talk about cities like Chicago and DC and Oakland and Sacramento, Flint, Milwaukee, these things are plagued by gangs, but we don't never talk about what the gangs are there for. People who are not involved in these inner city liberal democratic politics. And when Trump calls out the corruption, see, you don't know what happened with gangs. There used to be gangs. See, people think gangs are from the 70s or from the 60s. No, when the crack era came, when cocaine came into America, we're talking about Venezuela. We're talking about Trump and geopolitics and America first and MAGA. Make America great again. We're talking about Trump, geopolitics, MAGA, make America great again. That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about cocaine. When cocaine came into America, it changed gangs. It changed gangs forever. So what you know and understand about the inner city politics, the liberals, what you need to know about is the gangs in Chicago, the gangs in Washington, D.C., the gangs in Milwaukee. They are there to protect the drug trade. That is why Trump is the greatest president to ever be president. And that's why Trump is going to go down here. I'm surprised Trump won't do reparations. It's so much to fix in America that can be fixed to make America great again. And this thing talking about getting the PDFs going. This is why we voted for Trump. Going after PDFs, going after people who hurt and target children, going after people who hurt and target women, going after the cocaine and the drug dealers. Y'all don't know about the Filipino president? Who remembers the Filipino president? This is not new. We had the Filipino president. We had the Chinese leader. If you get caught selling drugs in China, you get killed. You go to jail forever. There's no drug dealing in China. It is not accepted. It is the most strictest laws overseas in East Asia. There is no drug dealers. There is no cool rapping drug dealers. In the Philippines, everybody was upset because you remember the Filipino president? He was murdering drug dealers. He was and proudly going on TV saying, if you sell drugs, we are going to kill you. Shout out to Valhalla VFT. Are you guys subscribed to Valhalla VFT? Double tap, hit the like button as you come in. Daniel Garcia gets the shout out. Daniel coming in with them white vans. Damn, Daniel, the white vans again. Damn, Daniel coming in with them white vans, man. Does anybody subscribe and watch Valhalla VFT? Valhalla, he is a retired Green Beret. Thank you for your service. Number one, brother, thank you for your service. Great podcast. I learned a lot from your show. I was watching Valhalla VFT over the weekend, and he was talking about people suggesting that there was a war crime, and he had to break down what is actually happening in Venezuela and how before they have designated these people as international terrorists, what the law actually says. But we're going to get into it. We're going to have a hell of a conversation today. Hell of a conversation today. Double tap hit the like button. Double tap hit the like button because people are confused about what is legal, what is prudent, and what is morally correct. And it's a lot of moral police. I mean, the moral police are out there. Double tap hit the like button. What's up, 49er fans? What's up, 49er fans? What's up with you, man? Double tap hit the like button. Perfect time to podcast with the blast, man. How's everybody doing this morning, man? Did you see? So you know I'm a Broncos fan. I'm supporting Shula Sanders. I'm a Deion Sanders fan. Deion Sanders played for the 49ers. What's up with your boy? What's up? What's your name? I can't say that name, man. It'd be too many trolls. But what's up with you, man? It'd be too many trolls. What's good with you? I'm good, man. Double tap hit the like button. I've never seen you before, so subscribe, man. Double tap hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know you're a real player and you're not an NPC. All I get is a lot of NPCs, man. So double tap, hit the like button, and subscribe. Let me know you're not an NPC. Let me know you are a real human, you're a real American, and you came here for a conversation about politics and education and understanding about geopolitics. There are a lot of channels that talk about dumb stuff. You can go to a channel and talk about, there are a lot of ignorant YouTubers. And if you really want to see some ignorance, go to TikTok. I'm telling you, I've been trying to do TikTok. TikTok is the worst app. I swear to God, TikTok it's just the worst of America. If you really want to understand why we had that issue with TikTok and then the differences between Chinese TikTok and American TikTok, it is a stark reality of what American culture and the intellect of most Americans. If you want to know what the debauchery, and I mean, you could come to my chat. You can see a lot of trolls, a lot of idiots in my chat. But if you want to see it manifested, go to TikTok. It's disgusting what America has become under the last administration. You know what I said to my wife last night? We were talking about the last administration and the damage done by Biden. You guys are seeing what's happening in Afghanistan, right? I swear people are watching my podcast. Do you see what's happening in Afghanistan? You see what Trump has been. We're not talking about Afghanistan today because it's still developing, but we're going to talk about it. But when I talk about the last administration, when I talk about Kamala, when I talk about Biden, when we get into the Ukraine, when I educate people on the fact that Biden was the head of the Ukraine policy under Obama, he was vice president for 8 years and then president for 4. That's 12 years he could have fixed the Ukraine conflict. Biden made it worse. Biden was the head of Ukraine policy. So when we talk about these issues, man, It's so important that people really care about the issues, have the intellect and intelligence to actually digest and process the information. A lot of people don't. A lot of people just don't. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the Venezuelan potential conflict. We've already seen drug boats blown up. We've already seen drug boats blown up, and people are upset about a second missile. I promise you, those people who are questioning Trump's decision and Pete Hegseth, can I get Pete Heggy Baby in the chat? Can I get Pete Heggy Baby in the chat? Shout out to Pete Heggy Baby in the Department of War. Shout out to Pete Heggy Baby in the Department of War. Can I get Pete Heggy Baby in the chat? Department of War, Pete Heggy Baby in the chat. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Pete Hegseth, Department of War. Pete Hegseth, Department of War. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of those people probably weren't affected by the drugs and the gangs that still proliferate. I don't understand, because after the ghettos were ravished, then the drugs took the shape of a pill, and then they took over the Midwest. When you lost your coal mining, when you lost your factories, people worked at Tyson, people worked at automotive plants, people worked at the farm plant, but they lost all the manufacturing in the Midwest and they replaced it with drugs. So pills ravished the white people in the Midwest, but no one's upset. I would be upset. I would be upset about the drugs proliferating over America. I would be upset. Did you hear about Afghanistan? We're not going to go into Afghanistan too much. But did you hear about Afghanistan? Go P, money for the play. What's up with your player? Double tap, hit the like button. Shout out to Gold P, man. Thank you for coming through and supporting, man. Good to see you, brother. Hopefully you had a happy, good holiday. I had a good time supporting your channel over the holiday weekend. I didn't do many podcasts, so I was over there supporting the Gold P channel. Gold P is vegan. Double tap, hit the like button. You know, Gold P, I listened to you. The last couple, I had turkey, but I didn't eat a lot of food. And to be honest, the last 2 days, over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you know what I had for dinner? I had a liquid dinner. I had a smoothie, because I want to keep my body right. If you notice, I've been working out. I've been really strict on my body and my diet. So after I had my Thanksgiving dinner, Friday I had a smoothie for dinner. Saturday I had a smoothie. Last night I had a smoothie for dinner. Me and my son, I was actually vegan. Shout out to Gold P. I was actually vegan when my son is born. He's 8 years old. To this day, he doesn't eat meat. He doesn't like to eat meat. So me and him both, we had smoothies Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to get our diet back right, man. Shout out to you. Poor people got nothing to do but drugs, no hope. Shout out to you, brother. Have you seen the videos from Philadelphia and Kensington? Man, it's very sad. This is an American city. When I talk about the Midwest and how drugs ravished the Midwest, we could do a victim. We could do a pity party about black people. We could do victims. We could say, oh, I'm black and crack cocaine and everything. But this is America. You know what I would love people to understand about America? That there is no black policy. There are policies that were designed to specifically affect certain groups of people. We cannot deny that. That's the way politics work, right? So certain policies did affect certain group of people, but this is America. Everybody has been hurt by this thing. As we get into Venezuela, we all have been touched. It's like some of the diseases that proliferated, but everyone has been touched by the drug crisis. Maybe it wasn't crack cocaine. Maybe it was a pharmaceutical, but the bottom line is America has been ravaged by drugs. And the sad part is, until Trump came into office, everybody has been okay with the fact that the drugs are not manufactured in America. Now think about this, you guys. Think about this. Everyone is programming you today. They want you to be upset at Trump. But we all have known since the Nino Brown speech, the drugs are not manufactured in America. Poppy was in Afghanistan. We're going to get into Afghanistan later this week, but we were protecting the poppy in Afghanistan. We've always known the cocaine came from Colombia and South America, and the cocaine did not just affect blacks. The cocaine affected our entire country, has been ravaged by cocaine, drugs, and cartels. So there is a foundation for what Trump is doing. And this is not, if you look at the Filipino president, there is also a precedent for what Trump is doing in Venezuela. And those of us affected by cocaine, drugs, black, white, purple, green, all Americans in the Midwest, in Philadelphia, in Kensington, in Ohio, in Kansas, all of those white middle class, white suburban, all of that was ravaged by pharmaceuticals. In Florida with the doctor shopping. This is President Trump doing what the American people elected him to do, putting America first. How long can we put Venezuela first? How long can we put Bolivia first? How long can we ignore the coca fields? How long do we ignore them? When do we go and blow up the coca fields? Let me know in the chat. When is it appropriate just to burn up the coca fields and say we're not accepting any more of your cocaine? Trump is basically saying to Venezuela in South America, we are no longer accepting any more of your cocaine. Tell me, when is that okay? China makes most of the fentanyl. This is why we have an issue with China, and that's why China wants to have trade with Afghanistan so they can get access to the poppy and the opium crisis. But tell me, you guys, tell me when it's going to be okay for America to put Americans first and say, we don't want the cocaine. And tell smaller South American countries that count on America, they use American dollars. These South American countries count on America for trade, for money, for protection, and then they ship cocaine, and then they send criminal cartels into our country. How long are we going to accept it? When is someone going to put America first? This is the most perverted conversation that I've had this term. We're only 11 months into the Trump presidency. We're only 11 months, and I can't believe, to me, it is very familiar. To me, I can still smell the smoke. Right now, we can go to the inner city of the San Francisco Bay Area. I can take you to East Oakland. We can go to South Chicago and we can see crack houses. We can go to Kensington, Philadelphia, and see people bent over off of fentanyl. One of my chat members said China makes the most fentanyl. We can go to the Midwest and see people on drugs standing like statues in a major American city. Do you know Philadelphia is a major, there's history, there's law, there's Chicago. These cities are the crux and the basis of American culture. If we lose cities like Chicago, if we lose cities like Philadelphia, then America and its inner workings and culture, the fabric is gone. And I am saying to you that drugs are ripping apart the fabric of American culture and inner city. And it's not a passe subject. This is not a passe subject. So what do you do to Venezuela? What do you do to Bolivia? What do you do to the cocaine producing South American countries that benefit from American dollars, that traffic drugs in American streets, that when Biden had an open border policy, Venezuelan president sent the cartel across the border. Trita de Agua, 40,000 cartel members in Aurora, Colorado. Trita de Agua taking over apartments in Chicago. What is the answer? No all caps in my chat. No all caps in my chat. No all caps in my chat. Keep it respectful, everybody. Keep it respectful, everybody. Double tap hit the like button. Double tap hit the like button. Double tap hit the like button. Share the show. Everybody who's MAGA, all my MAGA magnificent men, double tap. All my MAGA magnificent women, double tap hit the like button. Share the show with like-minded MAGA individuals. We are not going down today. Share the show with like-minded MAGA individuals right now. I need all my MAGA magnificent men and women who support me on a daily basis. Double tap, hit the like button, and share the show with like-minded individuals so that we expand the conversation. Double tap, hit the black. You're a black man. How are you, MAGA? You are racist. You are racist when you see the skin color of somebody and you assume racial loyalty to a particular party. That is the most un-American statement in the chat today. Follow the guidelines. I'm going to report you to YouTube right now. Follow the guidelines. Do you understand what you just did? That was racism. Do you understand when you see someone's skin color and you think that I need to be loyal to a particular party based on my skin color? You're judging me by my skin color. That is racist. Do you understand? Simply because I'm a certain race, you think I need to be part of a certain particular party. I owe racial loyalty? Do you see, this is the problem with the perverted intellect and the dummies in America. He doesn't even know that that was racist. See, these dumb Democrats don't even know their ideology is racist. You can't expect racial loyalty. You don't know my economics. You don't know my intellectual background. You don't know my environment. You know nothing about my circumstances. You make that judgment purely based on my skin color. That is racist. To see someone's skin color and assume loyalty to a particular party, or that I should have allegiance, or somehow I am misspoken or misinformed because I don't have racial allegiance to a particular party. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Hit the Cash App. Hit the Cash App. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't think you do. I don't think you do, but that's okay. We are cleaning up we are cleaning up America. We want to say thank you, Trump. Double tap at the like button. We want to say thank you, Trump. Shout out to everybody. We're going to get into it right now. Double tap at the like button. Double tap at the like button. Double tap at the like button. Let's report you too. Let's report all the racists. All the racists got to go. All the racism got to go. All the racism got to go. See, sexism. See, we went to sexism and we jumped over race. We have so much racial strife in America right now because we went straight to if you can be gay and go to the bathroom and have a dick and all this shit, but no one dealt with race. So people see a black man and they think Democrat. It's like when you see a woman and you assume wife or mother. No, women can be anything. Women can be CEOs. Women can be firefighters. Women can be the chief of police. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Do you know what's so great about the San Francisco Bay Area? My uncles and my aunties who may have lived in the Midwest where gays weren't accepted and where women CEOs weren't accepted. You know, people move to San Francisco. People move to Los Angeles. Gay people and women who want to be productive members of society and get promoted, they move to the San Francisco Bay Area. Do you know why? Because we have female chief of police. We have female mayor. We have gay chief of police. We have gay mayor, but you can't have that everywhere in the United States. But people move to California so they can move upper mobility because there is not being a judgment. They don't, in California, we don't look at someone and say gay and say Democrat or Republican. We just say, hello, good morning. That's all, because I'm not sleeping with them. It's actually perverted. You know what I'm saying? I just say, hello, good morning. Have a nice day. I don't care about your sexual orientation. I respect your choices, but in the San Francisco Bay Area, we don't judge you based on your race, your sex, your color, or your creed. We want to see what your productivity is. This is why I'm MAGA. This is why I'm so strongly MAGA, because Donald Trump is productive. We have the Israeli hostages home. We have a 21-point peace plan in Gaza. We have a 28-point peace plan in Russia. Did you forget over the holiday weekend, Zelensky got a deadline. Zelensky signed a peace deal. We have peace in Russia and the Ukraine. Zelensky signed a peace deal. We have peace in the Russia and the Ukraine. And today, we are discussing Venezuela. We are discussing no more cocaine. We are discussing America no longer accepting cocaine from South America. And I am telling you, this is the biggest example of America first. This is the biggest example. Airspace shut down. Check this out, the most based podcast on YouTube. Let's get going right now. Double tap at the like button. Airspace, Venezuelan airspace shut down, boats exploding, gas at $3 a gallon. Baby, did you know 20 states in America have gasoline at $2.75? Every time a Democrat is in office, gas was $8. I'm telling you, the cognitive dissonance is not going to go away. I'm telling you, the Democrats just love to lie, and I think Democrat liberals love to be broke. This is what it is. Some people love to be broke. Some people love to be ripped off. I said gas. This is kitchen table politics this morning. Trump news, Trump news, Trump news, giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues, giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues. How do we give the Democrats the blues? I said gas is $2.75. I said gas is $2.75 in 20 states. Did you guys know that gas is $2.75 in 20 states? That is your rebate. We already talked about a tariff rebate, $2,000 checks coming next year. Did you guys know you're going to get a tariff rebate? Remember the last time you got a stimulus check? You got a stimulus check under Donald Trump. There's another stimulus check coming, baby, and that will be next year. But right now, during Christmas, right, what does that say? 256 in North Carolina. MAGA Monday. Do you know that's your rebate right there? That's your stimulus right there. Because how much were you paying this? How much? Hey, shut up. Let's have a conversation. Let's have the conversation. Jerry, how much were you paying this time last year? Oh, that MAGA. Whoa, that MAGA. Jerry, how much? Jerry Parker, how much were you paying in gas this month, this time last year? Whoa, that MAGA. Whoa, that MAGA. See, they don't like real topics. They don't like real issues. They don't like the real facts. Jerry, how much were you paying in gas? Because that is money in your pocket. That is kitchen table politics. That is a rebate. That's politics, damn it. That's politics. Monday, MAGA morning. Monday, MAGA morning. How much were you paying? $3.88. Do you know that's damn near $50 in your pocket every week? Do you know that's damn near $50 in your pocket every week? Huh? If you fill up your gas, see, a lot of people talking shit, don't got cars, and they don't fill up their gas tank. They driving their mama car. Oh, what about the food? You talking about the eggs? You talking about the egg? How much? So wait a minute, Jerry. So you saving money on eggs, right? Eggs was $12. Somebody, I saw a post where eggs was $20. Somebody paid $20 for a dozen eggs. What was the most you paid for eggs during the Biden administration? Somebody put it in the chat right now. Somebody put it in the chat right. What was the most you paid for eggs during the Biden administration? Huh? How much most you pay for eggs? Lowering gas brings down the cost of everything. Oh, somebody has some intelligence. Somebody, and look at the name, vehicle enjoyer. So he must be in the trucking and shipping and logistics. Somebody has some intelligence in the chat. You must be in the trucking, shipping, and logistics, because you understand when the gas goes down, the cost of goods goes down, because it costs less money to get the goods to you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for not being an idiot. There's so many idiots in the chat. There's so many idiots that love to hate. I just want to educate and help. And when real people come in, there's a lot of NPCs in the chat. It's a lot of NPCs. $9 for eggs under Biden, and that was cheap. So in California, it was more. $9 for eggs under Biden is cheap. That was a low price in California. $9 was the low in California. You know, everything in California costs more. We have the most expensive gas. If you ever see a commercial about a $5 meal, it's $7 in California. Anybody in California who watch TV and see all these ads about $5 pizza, $5 mini meal, this and that, and then in California, it's always $2 more. Just add a California tax onto everything. When you put these numbers in the chat, let me help you out. Add a California tax to everything, so you can understand how beneficial a Trump presidency is to everyday working people who have to buy gas and buy food. Do you understand how beneficial a Trump presidency is to everyone who has to buy gas and buy food? Jerry said, I stopped buying after they went over $7. Do you understand? I got my own chickens in about 50 cents a dozen. You know, me and my wife was watching one of my favorite comedians. His name is Jim Gaffigan. He's a married man. He believes in God. He takes his kids on vacation. He takes his family to church. I just like Jim Gaffigan. I think he's funny. I think he's a good American. I think he's a good father, a good husband, a good God-fearing man. People forget what America is about. You know what I'm saying? Really, I'm a married man. I believe in God. I love my wife. I love my children. So I look for like-minded individuals, right? So Jim Gaffigan, I'm a comedian. I'm a podcast host. I host this television show on YouTube. So I love Jim Gaffigan. He has a new special where he said during the pandemic, he's got into farming and bourbon. So I watched it. It's hilarious. And I felt like-minded. I'm bringing this up, Goldsberry, because during the pandemic, I love you too. I started a garden. I fell in love with gardening. I was vegan. I was eating only vegetables. I was growing my own vegetables. It was the most spiritually awakening thing that I've ever done in my life. I grew up in the inner city in the concrete jungle, right? I grew up in the inner city in the concrete jungle. There was no grass. There was no dirt. I recently moved to an area outside of the city where I had a huge backyard. When the pandemic hit and people were having food problems, I said, I can't let my family go hungry. I dug out my entire backyard, created a garden. It flourished for 2-3 years. I no longer live there. I missed the farm. I missed the garden. I had corn. I had red corn. I had my white neighbors thinking I was indigenous and I had some type of special black power because of what I was able to pull out the ground. I grew red corn. I grew blue corn. I grew blue corn. I had red corn. I had grapes. I had a grapevine. I made jelly. I made wine. I had a pepper patch. I made pepper relish. I had squash, monster squash, delicata squash, zucchini, collard greens. I miss my garden. I miss my garden. So shout out to you for having your chickens, having your garden. Shout out to America. Shout out to America. Let's get going with the most based podcast in the land. Double tap at the like button. I don't know what's going on with the slowness. Even the trolls is like, man, it ain't enough people to troll. Hey, the trolls, I got you, baby. I got you, baby. Venezuelan airspace has been shut down. Boats exploding gas at $3 again. Trump 2.0 at least. Trump just closed Venezuelan airspace and turned drug-running boats into fireworks, baby. Threatened a full land invasion, and somehow gas is under $3 a gallon nationwide, and 20 states have gas under $2.75. Is this an emergency episode? We gonna break it down this mega Monday. The insane 72-hour timeline, warning shots to exploding boats, why the Pentagon is quietly freaking out about possible Caracas invasion, the real reason pump prices crashed, the $2.97 average spoiler is not just the drill, baby, drill. Maduro's next move, why Russia and Iran suddenly very interested. Why is Russia and Iran suddenly interested? Let's get into it, baby. Let's get into it, baby. Let me get into this. We got a lot to talk about today, man. Welcome. Double tap hit the like button. Welcome. The fastest growing political show on the internet. Back at it like a crack addict. Automatic like a phone-matic. Built for tragedy. Made for static. It's your boy. Perfect Timing Podcast. Back with the blast. In and out with a dash. 2025 won't last. So we're going to get this done real fast. Welcome to the fastest growing political show on the internet. And folks, if you thought Trump's first term was wild, buckle up. In the last 96 hours, Donald Trump has shut down the entire country's airspace, turned 3 narco boats into Roman candles on live television, threatened a ground invasion of Venezuela, and somehow dropped national gas prices down below $2.97. I'm your host, Perfect Timing of the Perfect Timing Podcast. This is the airspace shutdown, boats exploding, $3 a gallon, 2.0 unleashed. Let's roll the tape. Did y'all see the footage? All right, let's start with the visual cocaine. Here is an unedited Coast Guard gun cam footage released yesterday. That second missile you just heard, that was the one the Pentagon swears Trump never ordered, except he literally said, finish the job on camera 2 hours earlier. We're going to break down why this is either the most badass drug op in history or the spark that lights the entire Caribbean on fire. Bro, so let me see what I got here. Let me see what I got. Let me see what I got here. Let me see what I got here on these clips, man. Let me see what I got for you on these clips, man. Double tap at the like button, man. Congress probes U.S. strike on Venezuelan drug boat with no survivors. U.S. Southern Command targeted the boat in international waters off Trinidad as part of efforts against drug traffickers tied to foreign terrorist groups. Trinidad Agua. Anonymous officials told the Washington Post that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Heggy baby, directed kill them all, prompting a follow-up attack on survivors. I don't like this nomenclature of survivors. If they're criminal drug dealers, has anybody ever seen someone black get pulled over by police when selling drugs in America? No paragraphs in the chat, y'all. No paragraphs in the chat, and all the trolls go somewhere else. U.S. Southern Command targeted the boat in international waters off Trinidad as part of efforts against drug traffickers tied to foreign terrorist groups. Trinidad Agua. Anonymous officials told the Washington Post that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth directed kill them all. Anonymous officials? What is that term? Anonymous officials. Are they actually working for this administration, or they worked for the past administration? Y'all got to pay attention to what's going on in America, but we ain't going to talk about that today. Prompting a follow-up attack on survivors. Bipartisan congressional committees, including the Senate House of Armed Services panels, now demand full details amid concerns over potential war crimes and Geneva Convention's violations. Hegseth denies specifics, calling the actions lawful strikes against narco-terrorists, while President Trump backs aggressive anti-drug measures. Pete Heggie, baby, Department of War. Donald Trump, via Truth Social, said this: there are laws that impact our nation. Read Title 18, Chapter 115, Section 2387. Whoever with the intent to interfere, impair, influence the loyalty, moral, or discipline of the military and naval forces to be fined or imprisoned up to 10 years. Commander Kirk Leopold, U.S. Navy retired. This is right on point. Do what has to be done. That's from Donald Trump desk at Truth Social. So people are saying and wondering. Let's listen to what Mark Kelly is saying. This is November 30th. This old shit. Check this out. Okay.
Venezuela was ready.
Venezuela. This is. Do you know Venezuela is where the gas is at? So Venezuela. This is also why gas is. Trump is giving us a double whammy. Shout out to Donald Trump. Shout out to Donald Trump. Happy MAGA Magnificent Monday. Double tap, hit the like button. Donald Trump is kicking major ass this morning, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where the oil, their oil is garbage. It's horrible. The worst you can get, tar. It's like tar. And to refine it, you need special plants. And these people, how about we're buying oil from Venezuela?
All right, baby.
When I left, Venezuela was ready to.
So you hear Trump, we're buying oil from a dictator. We're not going to be doing that much longer. Hegseth, Pete Heggie, baby. That's my boy. Those gas prices are bumped, and so are you. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. No. What they say? Hit the road, Jack, because your ass don't know no more. I already talked about California having the highest gas prices. A national average. $3 is the average, dum-dum. $3 is the average, dum-dum. Do you know what an average is? No, because you didn't take math, you didn't graduate from high school. It's the shame about the American public, how perverse and idiotic you are. $3 is the average, dum-dum. You have to average it, dum-dum. So that means some states might be 4. Some states might be 2. And then you average it. The average is $3, dum-dum. Not every state is $3, dum-dum. Dum-dum-dum-dum. Huh? Do you know how to do? I know you don't do it. You don't know how to do an average, do you? You don't understand the terminology, do you? You're so busy with your head up Trump's ass, you can't hear and you can't act. Take your head out of Trump's ass, stop looking at my skin color, and listen to the damn words that are coming out of my mouth. Hello. Hello. Woo! Maduro, I said it clearly to the world. The United States is planning to plunder Venezuelan oil. They want to seize the largest oil reserve in the world as if Venezuela were a land without people. This will not happen. Not why I am leading this nation. Is that the fact? Is that the fact? He said, this will not happen while I am leading this nation. Holy cow, Republican Congressman Mike Turner, who serves on the House Armed Services Committee, which opened a formal investigation into Pete Hegseth, says that if the allegations are true, that Hegseth ordered a second attack on survivors, it would be an illegal act. How many people believe Pete Hegseth committed an illegal act, or was he acting under president orders? Let's take a look at the video. Let's take a look at the video. Let me reset the podcast real quick. So where we at right now? Let me reset the podcast real quick. Where we are right now is the fact that we are going to start with some visual cocaine. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to get you high right now. They don't know how they could. Thank you, Mrs. Perfect Timing, man. Mrs. Perfect Timing, if you got a little 5 minutes, just delete everybody out the chat. I need somebody with a wrench to just delete everybody out the chat. That's a troll, man. So we can stay focused on the topic, man. Because the trolls is trying to do their job this winter. I'm having a good time, man. I hope you're having a good day. I pray you having a good day, and I love you. So beautiful, you so gorgeous. But we're going to start it off with a little visual, a little one-on-one, man. Here is the unedited Coast Guard gun cam footage released yesterday. The second missile. Let me bring it up. This is the unreleased, the second missile you just heard. That was the one the Pentagon swears Trump never ordered, except he literally said, finish the job on camera earlier. I'm going to break it down right now. Let's take a look. Let's take a look and let's break it down right now. I got the video. PTP, Big Daddy Beer Gaming, BDBGP. What's up with you, baby? How you doing? How you feeling? #1 YouTube gamer on the platform. #1 gaming channel. Everybody subscribe to BDBGP. Put your link in the chat right now, Big Daddy Beer Gaming. Salute to you, my brother. Double tap hit the like button, everybody. Let's get into this video right now, man. Right now, AB, what we talking about this morning, we are talking about Trump and Venezuela. I don't know if you heard about the news, but Donald Trump and the head of the Department of War, Pete Hegseth, has been going after drug dealers off the coast of South America. Pete Hegseth, the Department of War, they blew up a boat, and what's in question is they hit a boat and then there was a second missile. So people are wondering whether or not the second missile was authorized, and whether people actually see the terms that people use is what's going to make this debate important.
War experts are saying that that was illegal, that killing people who are no longer able to fight is a war crime. What is your view, and what do you have for the Pentagon?
Congress does not have information that had occurred. Both the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, and ranking members have opened investigations. Obviously, if that occurred, that would be very serious, and I agree that would be an illegal act.
War experts are saying that that was illegal, that killing people who are no longer able.
So here it is, Big D. So this is my brother right here. He said, I don't watch politics that much. So this is the video right here. So what we're talking about this morning is we have a problem of cocaine in America for over 50 years, right? If you go back, if you go back to the famous movie New Jack City, Nino Brown has a famous speech where he says, "We don't make Uzis." There were Israeli Uzis back in the day. Do y'all remember that? The AK-47 is a Russian gun. A lot of black people were killed with Russian AK-47s and Israeli Uzis. Nino Brown said, "We don't make the guns in America." Nino Brown said, "We don't produce the drugs in America." So going back to the crack era, do you remember Ronald Ronald Reagan and George Bush. I love to have a political conversation. We can't just talk about Venezuela and cocaine without talking about Ronald Reagan and George Bush and the crack era, and who created crack cocaine and the proliferation of crack cocaine, and why South America sells cocaine in America the way it does. Well, South America sells cocaine in America the way it does because of the CIA. Because under George Bush and the CIA, they created something called Iran-Contra. See, Ronald Reagan, we're talking about Donald Trump and his ability to blow up Venezuela, but Ronald Reagan wanted to have a secret war. He went to Congress. Congress told him no, because he needed the money. You need money to go to war, right? Congress is the one with the purse strings. Remember when I explained to you about the shutdown? And right now we still don't have a budget. Do you know we still don't have a budget? We don't talk about the shutdown. Another shutdown is coming because we don't have a budget, because Congress owes the American people a budget. People get confused. They think Congress owes Trump a budget. No, you are the citizen. Congress works for you. You still don't have a budget. Can you operate your house without a budget? Congress is the house. You can't operate the house without a budget, but we still don't have a budget. I digress. Ronald Reagan went to the House for money to run a war. The House said no, because the House holds the purse strings, the Congress. So Ronald Reagan still wanted to go to war, but he didn't have the money. So something called crack was created by the CIA and Iran-Contras. The CIA ran cocaine from South America to the Northern California Bay Area where crack was created. It was proliferated by Freeway Ricky Ross in LA, but crack was created in Northern California via the CIA. You remember Ronald Reagan was governor of California. But remember what I told you about Ronald Reagan? Remember when we broke down Barack Obama? Last week we had to talk about corruption in Chicago. Last week we had to talk about corruption in Chicago. And what I said about the corruption in Chicago was, I said Barack Obama had to come out of Chicago. Barack Obama was a junior senator for 5 minutes and became president. You know what was odd about Barack Obama's presidency? Besides the fact that he may not have been an American citizen, shout out to Donald Trump and Birthergate and where was Barack Obama born, who was his father, who was his mother. None of these things actually was adequately proven to us. I need Candace Owens to do a deep dive on Barack Obama and actually who the fuck he is. But I digress. We had cocaine. We had cocaine coming into the country. Barack Obama was president with Biden. Biden had been in the House for 40 years. Did you guys know Biden had helped with the crime bill in 1993, 20 years before Barack Obama became president? So Barack Obama didn't know anything about politics. My brother Big Daddy Beer Gamer said he don't know a lot about politics. You know who else didn't know shit about politics? Barack Obama. He had only been a junior senator for 5 minutes before he became president, but his vice president and his secretary was Hillary Clinton. Do you guys remember that meeting? That epic meeting before Barack Obama became president, when Hillary Clinton realized that she could not beat Barack Obama. There was this secret meeting, and Barack Obama caved and said, I'll make Hillary Clinton the secretary, right? And then she'll be set up to run for president next time, right? So Hillary Clinton bowed out because she knew she couldn't beat Barack Obama, and she became secretary, and Joe Biden became vice president. This is the scary part. Both of them have been in politics over 50 years. Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden have been in politics over 50 years. Hillary Clinton was responsible for Libya. If you wonder why we have dysfunction in North Africa and all the issues that we have in it was stable when Gaddafi was there. I know a lot of this you guys don't understand, but this is a political channel. This is a geopolitical debate. North Africa was stable with Gaddafi, but Hillary Clinton celebrated murdering Gaddafi. Do you remember that horrible story about that base in Libya where those guys got murdered? That was a horrible story, all crafted by the Clinton mafia. Joe Biden was the head of policy in Ukraine under Barack Obama. Do you understand the picture I'm painting? So Ronald Reagan was the president, right? But Ronald Reagan was an actor, just like Zelensky. Ronald Reagan was a mediocre actor. He wasn't even a good actor. Ronald Reagan was a mediocre actor that was placed in the White House above Vice President Bush. But Bush was not a mediocre actor. Bush was a real actor. Bush has ties going back to his father. His family has been in government over 100 years. Bush was part of the CIA. He was running on the CIA under the JFK. When they say JFK files need to be released, you're talking about the Bushes, right? And yes, the Daddy Bush may not be here, but George W. Bush, he is here. So if we get into the JFK files, you have to get into the first Bush, and Bush being at the CIA. This directly connects to Charlie Kirk in today. So Ronald Reagan did not have pull at the CIA. Ronald Reagan didn't have any friends in the CIA. Ronald Reagan's friends were from Hollywood. Ronald Reagan was a Hollywood actor. He had friends in California, but he didn't know anyone in the deep state. What you need to learn, we've learned so much from Barack Obama. Do you know how much we've learned from the Barack Obama presidency? See, the term deep state, you never heard of the term deep state before Barack Obama. Because why we learned about it, because they wanted us to know Barack Obama wasn't running the country. Barack Obama was never in charge. Ronald Reagan wasn't running the country. Ronald Reagan was never in charge. There was always a deep state. When we say deep state, what do we mean? What did we find out? We find out this weekend with Venezuela that the FBI director has a 10-year term. I told you last week about senators who have a 7. So the president only has a 4-year term. When we talk about deep state, you need to understand that most people in Washington are there for a lifetime. These are the building blocks of the deep state. People work for government and politics in Washington for a lifetime. The president is not there for a lifetime. You guys understand? The president is there very temporarily, and he's coming into a system that has been working and works every day and is going to work after he leaves. Do you understand what I'm saying? The president comes into an already running machine, the deep state. Oh, you're the president, inauguration on January. Oh, I'm the president. Yay, Barack Obama's the president. What did Barack Obama find out? What did white racist senators do that night? They had a meeting. They said, we're not going to pass anything that Barack Obama puts up. We're going to stop every nomination. Barack Obama did not understand the deep state. He didn't understand that there would be so much pushback and that the people pushing back had so much power. He thought he was the president, right? What did we learn from Barack Obama? What have we learned from Trump? The president doesn't have that much power. The president has to find friends in Washington, D.C., allies, make the proper appointees if he wants to get something done, right? And if he doesn't understand that, he won't get anything done because of the deep state. The deep state are individuals who are working in Washington for a lifetime. How long did Joe Biden work in Washington? This is what we need to get at understanding this morning. Joe Biden had been in Washington 40 years when he came to be vice president. Do you know how many FBI directors he knew, had dinner with? Do you know how many CIA directors he was he was a senator. Senators have a lot of power. They have a lot of budget power. So Joe Biden, he wasn't a Congress, he was a senator. Senators are like presidents, executive power and purse strings. They're very powerful. I don't think one of the things that's happening is people don't understand how powerful a senator is. So Joe Biden was senator for over 40 years before becoming vice president. Joe Biden is a definition of the deep state. George Bush is a definition of the deep state. I'm giving you this foundation because we're talking about Venezuela. I need you to know that Ronald Reagan could not do Iran-Contras because Ronald Reagan was not part of the deep state. But who could go to the CIA? Who had favors? Who had en routes? Who had people who owed him at the CIA? George Bush. George Bush ran the CIA. George Bush had been in government for over 40, 50 years. George Bush had appointed, promoted, hired a lot of the people who are considered, quote unquote, deep state at the CIA, at the FBI, at the SS. Do you understand what I'm saying? So Ronald Reagan could not do Iran-Contras. Ronald Reagan could not go to the CIA and get the people to be quiet, be secretive, and then run this cocaine operation and then funnel the money into the Iran-Contras. Ronald Reagan did not have enough friends in Washington, D.C. to pull it off, but George Bush did. The same thing is true with Barack Obama. Barack Obama was not part of the deep state. Hillary Clinton was. Joe Biden was. Are you guys paying attention? So when we talk about Venezuela, when we talk about Venezuela, and we talk about the drugs coming into Venezuela, you have to understand why it is this problem exists. This problem exists because of the CIA. The same thing Candace Owens is talking about right now. And people are floating the idea that Candace Owens is crazy. But if you understand Iran-Contras, if you really understand the deep state, if you understand how cocaine became proliferated in America, then you could get to where Candace Owens is, because you would know the fact that the CIA created crack cocaine. The CIA created gangs in the way we know them now. See, the gangs that you familiar with in the 70s were to protect blacks from racist cops. After crack cocaine, gangs were used to protect the cocaine dealing trade because the CIA needed the money. Do you understand? So the coke had to be sold. And just like when we were in Afghanistan and we protected the poppy, see, gang Crips and Bloods exist to protect the cocaine trade. They're not there to kill each other. The Crips and the Bloods, the Black disciples, they all took on protection. And they protect the drug trade so that the deep state can get the money to do their secret war. Do you guys understand? As someone part of the inner city, as someone who has been plagued by the crack in America, I am very excited that Trump is going after the drug dealers. This is the first time that America has shifted. America created the problem with cocaine. The CIA and America created the problem with crack and gangs. This is Trump saying we are no longer friendly to cartels, to cocaine, to drugs, to gangs, when he is going into Chicago. So it's one thing to say Trump is racist when he goes into Chicago and Memphis and he goes after the drug dealers. But then Trump now goes to South America to stop the cocaine from coming in. You know why he's doing that? So he doesn't have to go back to Chicago. He doesn't have to go back to Memphis and fix the problem again, because cocaine is still being flooded into America and we still have gangs and drugs and crime. Because the cocaine is what fuels the gangs, the drugs, and the crime. The cocaine is what fuels the gangs, the drugs, and the crime. See, gangs need money. Gangs need money to buy guns, right? How does the gang get money to buy guns? They need the cocaine. Without the cocaine, the criminal enterprises in America collapse. I am thankful to Trump. We are thankful to Trump. We are thankful to Trump for going after Venezuelan cartels and letting all of South American nations know that America is kicking the coke. Put it in the chat. America is kicking the coke. Let's watch the video one more time. For everybody that don't understand what's going on, we're talking about Venezuela and possibly an invasion into Venezuela, Trump versus Maduro, $3 gas prices. Let's take a look at this. And then Pete Hegseth and individuals who don't understand the articles.
War experts are saying that that was illegal, that killing people who are no longer able to fight is a war crime. What is your view and what questions do you have?
Congress does not have information that had occurred. Both the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, and ranking members have opened investigations. Obviously, if that occurred, that would be very serious, and I agree that would be an illegal act.
War experts are saying that that was illegal.
So did you hear that? That was a Democrat telling you that did not occur. There was no war crime. These individuals has been designated as terrorists. There was no war crime. If you look up the international law, when people are designated as international terrorists, they can be killed. Shout out to Valhalla VFT. I was watching Valhalla VFT, and he told us that when there are kill orders, when it was ISIS, when he was in Afghanistan fighting ISIS, there was a kill order, and the order said kill everybody. He said the order was, it didn't matter if ISIS was shooting at him or had a gun. He had permission to kill anyone who was a member of ISIS, whether they were a threat or not. That was the order. So when people are telling you this morning that they broke the law, they don't understand the actual articles of war. Rasta, I don't want paragraphs in my chat. If you want to say something, put it in the super chat, and then I will address your comment. But don't put paragraphs in my chat or I'm going to get you up out of there. All right? Don't put paragraphs in my chat. Do you get to just label people terrorists? So no, there is a process There is a process by which people are labeled terrorists. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered Navy SEAL Team Scene 6 on September 2nd to kill everybody aboard a suspected drug boat near Venezuela, leading to the second missile after spotting 2 survivors in the wreckage. The operation since early September have sunk multiple vessels, so it's not just one, killing over 80 people tied to fentanyl smuggling cartels. Did you hear this? Pete Hegseth and the Department of War have killed over 80 people. We're talking about one boat this morning. The news has erupted over one boat and a second missile, but they don't know the orders. They don't know the articles, and they're just trying to be seditious and take away from Trump's administration and its successes. The fact of the matter is we have been ravaged by fentanyl. We started off talking about Philadelphia and Kensington and American cities where we have American people looking like statues. American people bent over for blocks and blocks off of fentanyl, off of pharmaceuticals, off of crack cocaine. They look like statues in Kensington, Philadelphia, a major American city. So it's not just this boat. Please get the facts right. They have killed over 80 people tied to fentanyl smuggling cartels. Though officials release no public proof of drug or entities on every boat, critics call it a potential war crime and extrajudicial killings, while Hegseth labels the reports fake news and defends the lethal actions as legal against narco terrorists. Can we just get the facts this morning? Mega Magnificent Monday, mega facts. Can I get MAGA facts in the chat? MAGA facts, baby. MAGA facts. Everybody worried about this one boat. You ain't worried about Kensington, Philadelphia. You ain't worried about American people looking like a statue, bent over, addicted to cocaine, addicted to fentanyl. How many deaths? I'm gonna ask Grok right now, because people worried about the wrong thing. How many deaths from fentanyl in America? Somebody want to beat me? Let's have a race. How many deaths from fentanyl in America last year? From fent in America last year? Huh? Because everybody worried about this one boat. How many Americans died from fentanyl last year under the last administration? Can we have a real number? It says approximately 48,000. Can we have a real talk this morning? Can we have man, this is the most based podcast. Double tap at the like button. You're not going to find nothing like this on YouTube. This is the #1 podcast for geopolitical conversation. See, people want to talk around the issue. They want you to focus on these people, these white men. This is a very racist country right now. We need help. They want you to focus on these white men. They want you to focus on these white men and hate these white men. Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, and these white men haven't done anything to you. Okay? These white men haven't done anything to you, but they want you to focus on these white men and not focus on the real issue, that the drugs are killing Americans and the drugs feed the gangs. So we got a boat of drug dealers dead, right? 5 or 6 people. How many Americans died off of fentanyl? We already gave you the report that it's fentanyl. Let me read it again. Because it's fentanyl. It's fentanyl, right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Americans. Congress probes U.S. strike on Venezuelan drug boats with no survivors. The U.S. Southern Command targeted the boat in international waters off Trinidad as part of efforts against drug traffickers tied to foreign terrorist groups. Drug traffickers tied to foreign terrorist groups like Trinidad Agua, who came to America via the Biden administration open border policy, 40,000 in Aurora, Colorado, and Chicago, who took over American apartments and kicked out Americans via the threat of violence. Terrorists in America, from South America. Can we just be honest? Anonymous officials told the Washington Post that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth directed kill them all, prompting a follow-up attack on survivors. Bipartisan congressional committees, including Senate House Armed Services panels, now demand full details amid concerns over potential war crimes in Geneva conventions. Do you guys understand what's going on this morning? Fentanyl took out approximately 48,000 deaths. This is a drop. Did you guys know that? Wow. So during the height of the Biden administration, you got to show these numbers. During the height of the Biden administration, let's see how many people died. Biden didn't do anything to Venezuela. Biden didn't do anything to stop fentanyl. So right in 2024, 48,000 deaths. But wait, that was a 37% drop from 2023. 37% is a huge marker. So in 2023, the finalized number was 72,000. In 2022, 74,000 Americans died from fentanyl. So what do you have us do? If it's America first, if it's MAGA, if it's America first, what do you have him do? 80,000 people every year were dying. We're in global conflicts. We are in recovery. Do you know we are in recovery? Do you remember the Recovery Act? America is trying to build back after 2 years of lockdowns, 2 years of moratoriums, 2 years of no rent, 2 years of not paying bills, 2 years of not paying taxes. America is in recovery. And we are dealing with, on top of recovery, we have fentanyl crisis. 80,000 deaths a year. And everybody's concerned about a Venezuelan boat full of people selling drugs. The penalty for trafficking drugs is not capital punishment. So you're okay with 80,000 Americans dying every year. You're okay with 80,000 Americans dying every year. Just say it in the chat. I don't want to hear you talk around the issue. Just say you're okay with 80,000 Americans who are not criminals, who are innocent, who did not commit a crime. Just say you are okay with 80,000 innocent Americans who fell victim to drug addiction, maybe because they came from a broken home, maybe because they had a broken heart, but the drugs shouldn't have been there. Maybe because the Midwest lost all its manufacturing. People used to work at the Tyson plant. People used to work at the automotive plant. People used to work at the coal mining plant. All those factories, infrastructure was gone by Bill Clinton, remember? So all that was left in the Midwest was doctor shops. See, in California, we had to go to the hospital, but in Florida and in the Midwest, they go to these little doctor shops and they can get fentanyl and they can get Vicodin from little doctor shops. They don't have to go to the hospital. Did you guys know that? And it ruined America. What we're talking about right now is that we just showed you some visual cocaine. That was an unedited Coast Guard footage that was released yesterday of the second missile. That one was one the Pentagon swears Trump never ordered, except he literally said, finish the job on camera 2 hours earlier. We're going to break down why this is either the most badass anti-drug op in history or the sparks that lights the entire Caribbean on fire. That is not a sanction, bro. This is a declaration of total air supremacy. Trump climbs the stairs of Air Force One, turns around, drops this bomb. Venezuelan airspace is closed its entirety until further notice. Any aircraft entering will be considered hostile. So we're beyond the boats. Let me read it to you again. Trump just closed Venezuelan airspace. We are that close to an international incident. Trump climbs the stairs of Air Force One, turns around and drops this bomb. Venezuelan airspace is closed. Let me say it again. Venezuelan airspace is closed in its entirety until further notice. Any aircraft entering will be considered hostile. Bro, that's not a sanction, bro. That's not a sanction. That is a declaration of total air supremacy. Maduro responds within 45 minutes, calling Trump Emperor Gringo. Did y'all know that? He responded calling Trump Emperor Gringo. I got to get that. We got to get that. Maduro responded calling Trump Emperor Gringo. We got to get that, man. We got to get that, man. We got to get that, man. Trump is not trying to be emperor of the world. Come on now. Come on now. Let's get that from the White House. Let's get that from the White House, everybody. Let's get that from the White House. What we talking about this morning? We talking about Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, Venezuela, boats blowing up, gas $3. How much is gas in your state? Can anybody put in the chat, how much is gas in your state? Gas is under $3. Let's go. We having a real MAGA magnificent Monday this morning.
The president is certainly not trying to be the emperor of the world. He is a strong president for the United States of America, and he's also the leader of the free world, and we've seen a great shift across the entire globe because of the strong leadership of this president. In regards to Brazil, the president sent a letter to Brazil announcing their new tariff and percentage. He also directed our USTR Ambassador Jameson Greer to launch an investigation of Brazil under Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974, designed to address unfair foreign practices that are affecting U.S. commerce. For years, we know Brazil's digital regulations and weak IP protections have undermined U.S. tech and innovative companies, and their tolerance of illegal deforestation and other environmental practices.
That was not the right video. That was fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. Bro, that's not a sanction. That's a declaration of total air supremacy. Maduro responds to 45 minutes calling Trump Emperor Gringo. Meanwhile, bookies in Las Vegas have U.S. boots in Caracas before July 4th at 350. The odds is 3. I'm not saying I put money on it, but I'm not saying I didn't. You know what I'm saying? If you go to Vegas right now, Vegas, the odds is that Trump will be invading Venezuela by July. How many people in the chat think Trump will invade Venezuela by July? Right now, how many people think Trump will invade Venezuela by July? Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is declining to comment on a report that he ordered the military to kill all passengers aboard a boat suspected of ferrying drugs into the Caribbean Sea in September. Secretary Hegseth declines to comment on a report. That is the fact. Let's see what Mark Rubio.
Law is they certainly don't get to determine is how the United States defend.
Mark, let's check out Mark Rubio talking about how Trump defends America. Double tap at the like button. Double tap at the like button. How much is gas? Where you at, baby?
I don't think that the European Union gets to determine what international law is. They certainly don't get to determine is how the United States defends its national security. The United States is under attack from organized criminal narco-terrorists in our hemisphere, and the president is responding in the defense of our country. I do find it interesting that all these countries want us to send, and supply, for example, nuclear-capable Tomahawk missiles to defend Europe. But when the United States positions aircraft carriers in our hemisphere where we live, somehow that's a problem. So I would say that the United States is, and this president has made very clear, his job is to protect the United States from threats against the United States, and that is what he's doing in this operation. I don't think that the European Union gets to determine what international law is. They certainly don't get to determine is how the United States defends its national security. The United States is under attack from organized criminal narco-terrorists in our hemisphere, and the president is responding in the defense of our country. I do find it interesting that all these countries want us to send, and supply, for example, nuclear-capable Tomahawk missiles to defend Europe. But when the United States positions aircraft carriers in our hemisphere where we live, somehow that's a problem. So I would say that the United States is, and this president has made very clear, his job is to protect the United States from threats against the United States, and that is what he's doing in this operation. I don't think that the European Union gets to determine what international law is. They certainly.
Do y'all understand? No one can dictate how we protect our country. Shout out to Mark Rubio. He's doing a great job, man. I think that boy running for president in 2028. How many people think he running for president? Oh, let me see this other one. Let me see this other one, man. Shout out to the most based podcast in the land. Double tap at the like button, baby. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered Navy SEAL Team 6 on September 2nd to kill everybody aboard a suspected drug boat near Venezuela, leading to a second missile after spotting 2 survivors in the wreckage. So today's news is blowing up across the country, not because we're blowing up boats. That's not why the news is blowing up across the country. The news is blowing up across the country because, like I said, since this, what would we call it? Since this mission, I don't know what you would call it. Since this started, they've killed over 85 people. I remember going back to September when the boats start being blown up. So it's not just one boat. It's the fact that somebody released video footage of a boat getting a second missile. And liberal Democrats want to call drug dealers survivors. That's the conversation we're having this morning. I don't know if you understand it, but liberal Democrats, in order disrupt the administration. They are trying everything to sandbag this presidency and disrupt this administration. That's the only goal. They don't have any policy. If you're a Democrat, you should be pissed off for the lack of policy. There is no policy from the Democrats. Their only mission is the socialist Marxist tactics to destroy and this the same thing they do in the chat with the trolls. Try to distract the president and try to distract the American people from understanding how much good he is doing. Drug dealers who do not have passports. Think about what they've actually said. We're talking about an illegal boat, right? If these people were Haitian, if they were black Haitians, no one would care because they would kill them like they kill black Haitians who come across in the boats all the time. What happens to black Haitians who try to come to Florida in boats? They get sent back or they get murdered. Black Haitians are not allowed to come across the border in boats. But I digress. This was an illegal boat doing an illegal crossing into American waters. See, a lot of people don't understand, just like the airspace has been closed, there is something called American waters. There is an American airspace, and then there are also American waters. If you enter into our airspace or if you enter into our waters, you can be killed. Do you understand? This is going back to Russia and the Ukraine, and Russia not wanting NATO to be part of Ukraine because Ukraine borders Russia, and they didn't want an army base from Ukraine right next to Russia. So there's not only airspace. America does not have their only airspace, and it is our right to protect our airspace, but there are something called international waters. And when that boat crossed into American waters, it became a target. But see, the boats are super fast boats. They have special technology because they're trying to avoid, going back to the 80s, these boats were being blown up because it's illegal to drive a boat without permission from Venezuela into American waters. You need to have permission. You have to go through certain checkpoints. This has always been the fact. So number one, this boat was traveling in illegal waters, right? Pete Hegseth in the Department of War had the right to blow them up if they did not get on the phone and identify who you are and what is your purpose for coming into American waters. I don't even have to know what's on the boat. Do you understand? I don't care what's on the boat. All I know is this is a boat coming into American waters at 100 miles per hour and it hasn't been identified by the service. We're going to blow it up. If you don't pick up the phone and tell me who you are, slow the fuck down, and what are you doing in American waters, you get blown up. It doesn't even matter if you're selling cocaine. It doesn't matter if you're selling cocaine. Do you understand that? It doesn't matter if you have cocaine. It doesn't matter what's in the boat. Does anyone understand that? It doesn't matter what's in the boat. If you are going over certain miles per hour and you are traveling from one area to another area, if there is a fishing boat, fishing boats have licenses. You understand? A fishing boat has licenses and tags and identification and sonar. And the U.S. Navy SEAL Team 6, let me read it to you again. The U.S. Navy SEAL Team 6, let me read it to you again. Defense Secretary ordered U.S. Navy SEAL Team 6. Hello, Navy. What does America do? For all the idiots in the chat, what does America do? America don't make manufacturing no more. America is a global police. America polices the ports, the canal, the Suez Canal, the canal between South America. That's what America does. America goes after pirates. America makes sure that we can ship things because America doesn't produce anything anymore. So that's the Navy's job. The Navy's job is to protect international waters so that everybody can ship and trade. This is the global economy. Why do you think the world works the way it works? The world works the way it works because America is the police. The reason why I voted for MAGA, what MAGA is saying is we don't want to police the world anymore. Barack Obama said we can't afford to police the world anymore. Close down bases. We don't want to police the world anymore, but we can protect international American waters and American airspace. So when that speedboat came in at that miles per hour, right, and that traveling into American waters, it became an enemy combatant, whether or not it had cocaine or fentanyl on the boat or not. If it was a fishing boat, the U.S. Navy SEAL, so it's important that you understand what happened because the U.S. Navy SEALs know how to identify a fishing boat and call them, hello, yes, You are entering into American international waters. You will be blown up if you do not turn around. And the boat would say, hey, I'm a fisherman. I'm off coast. I need help. I need help. I'm a fisherman and I'm lost. I didn't mean to go into these areas. Can you help me get back to my, and that's, but that, when you're going 100 miles per hour, you look like an enemy combatant. Let me read it again. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered Navy SEAL Team 6. Do you understand what is happening? Why did he use Navy SEAL Team 6? Because that's the Navy's job, to protect the international waters, unless you didn't know. I'm going to do some research for you, Terry. I'm going to get your bitch ass up out of here. I'm gonna get your bitch ass up out of here. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered Navy SEAL Team 6 on September 2nd to kill everybody aboard a suspected drug boat near Venezuela, leading to a second missile after spotting 2 survivors in the wreckage. So that's why it's a news story. That's why it's a news story, not because the boat was blown up. The news is because after the first missile, everyone didn't die. And then the military, the SEAL team, based on orders, shut down the boat, took everyone out because the boat was still moving. Because does anybody understand anything? The boat is still, Hegseth ain't going to jail because you don't understand articles of war. There are articles, there are rules. They have been designated as international narco terrorists. That gives the Department of War the permission to do what it's doing. Beyond that, I am tired of drug addicts. I am tired of drug dealers. This is a new America. There is no more empathy for the drugs and the gangs. This is a new MAGA America. We don't want no more drug dealers. We don't want no more cocaine. We don't want no open borders. We want America first. He ordered Navy SEAL Team 6 on September 2nd to kill everybody aboard the boat. The issue we're having this morning is there were 2 survivors and the Navy SEAL team killed those 2 survivors. And now Democratic liberals, don't cry for me, Trump killed the 2 innocent survivors. They are not innocent survivors. They are drug dealers who are trying to poison your children. Do not listen to the liberal media. Do not listen to the liberal, socialist, Marxist media who are telling you they were survivors. There were no survivors on that boat. There were criminals on that boat. There were felonious cartel criminals trying to bring drugs to your high school. So they killed them. There were no survivors on that boat. That is the terminology. Hey, baby. There were no survivors on that boat. There were criminals on that boat. There were drug dealers on that boat, and that's why they're dead. There were no survivors on that boat. There were criminal narco terrorists on that boat, and that's why they're dead now. Criminal narco terrorists. They don't become survivors because you live after I shoot you the first time, huh? They don't become survivors because you live after I shoot you the first time. Ain't that something? Survivors. Pete Hegseth. So wait a minute. Pete Hegseth is a hero. Pete Hegseth is a husband. Pete Hegseth is a proud American. And you want to put Pete Hegseth, a father, an American, a hero, appointed by Donald Trump. You want him to go to jail. You don't want the drug dealers to go to jail. Do you understand the perversion in America? I am so glad. I want to say I love you to all my white brothers. All the white men in America, I feel your pain. In 2025, to be a white man, if anything you do is wrong, if you're a white man in America, and don't be a Republican. If you're a white man in America, you believe in God, and you're a Republican, you love your wife, then people think you're a devil. Mm-hmm. Hey, babe, what's up? I haven't thought about it. What you want? Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't want a sandwich. Huh? I don't want a sandwich. Normally, I would eat a sandwich. Mm. Give me a kiss. Okay. Yeah. Times. 2 times? Mm-hmm. I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. Whatever. I'm trying to put something together, but I don't know what. And there, I can't think of nothing. Tuna, you know, I like tuna.
Mm-mm.
You don't like tuna? I'm old, I like tuna.
I don't like tuna.
The pho? I don't want no pho either. I don't want no noodles.
Soup yesterday.
I got a filet of fish left.
You want that?
I can eat it.
I can make you that, or you want me to wait because you're going to still be on.
No, you can make it for me. I'll heat it up.
Okay.
I don't know.
You got no change?
Mm.
Okay, I'll find something.
Pho?
Yeah, I'll eat some noodles or something.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too. Also, Rhonda says she'll take a sandwich, baby. Rhonda said, I'll take a sandwich. I'm starving. Starving like bombing. She said, my husband is bougie. He don't want no sandwich. Yeah, Heckensack got divorced 3 times. Heckensack got divorced. Yeah, we did. We had the bombest Thanksgiving leftover turkey sandwich. So I roasted the turkey, and yesterday we had got some sourdough bread because we in the Bay Area. We got the best sourdough bread. You know, when people fly in the SFO, they got the Parisian stand at the airport. You could buy the fresh sourdough bread in the San Francisco airport. It's one of the things you do when you fly into San Francisco. You buy the bread, right? So we got some fresh sourdough bread, and me too. I want to say we got some fresh sourdough bread, and I made a French dip. I made a turkey French dip. That's what I did with my turkey leftovers. So I did the fresh sourdough. I did the sliced turkey breast, some grilled onions and provolone. My wife, she grilled the onions with some red wine. Those onions were so good. Man, whoever came up with that to put the red wine. So I drink wine. We're in the Bay Area. I used to work in Napa, project manager, analyst by trade. I worked in the biotech field. I worked in hospitals and UC Davis, Kaiser, UCSF, and I worked in biotech in Napa. A lot of people don't know you got biotech in the East Coast in Maine. A lot of the people who worked for us came from Maine in the East Coast because there's a biotech there and there's a biotech hub in Napa. So I fell in love with wine. My boss was a doctor. He had a PhD in pharmacokinetics. I never knew what pharmacokinetics is. So when I talk about fentanyl, when I talk about prescription drug crisis, I am intimately aware of what the crisis is because I worked in biotech. When we had the quarantine and they had the whole vaccine, I did episodes that got taken off the internet because I have an intimate understanding of an FDA filing process. And when the vaccine did not go through the traditional FDA filing process and Trump did the warp speed, I knew right then, me and my colleagues, because I was a secretary, I was an admin. I'm not a PhD, right? My boss is the PhD. My boss had a PhD in pharmacokinetics, right? It's math. It's the periodic table. It's how you make a drug, right? He understood the math. Have you ever seen H2O? You know H2O, you have the oxygen and you have the hydrogen, and it says 2, that's math. A lot of us don't go to school long enough to understand the math and how do you add up elements, right? If you go to the periodic table, you can do math with the periodic table and create things, right? And that's what his PhD was in, right? He understood the periodic table, the math behind the periodic table, and how things like H2O, the mathematics behind. Dude, who knows what H2O is? Who knows what H2O is? Somebody put it in the chat. What is it? Anyway, so when we talk about fentanyl, when we talk about Vicodin, when we talk about Operation Warp Speed, because of my background in healthcare, biotech, analytics, project management, I understood some things that a lot of people would not know if they'd never been participated in the FDA filing. When I created the FDA filing, we had to do it by paper. It was boxes on boxes on boxes. It was like 30 boxes. We had a special FedEx driver. Our FedEx driver hated us. We had to ship all of this to the FDA. We had to go through clinical trials, right? We had to go through clinical trial. It takes anywhere from 7 to 15 years. 7 is a fast track. No one ever talks about this. H2O is water. H2O is water. So it takes 7 years on a fast track to get a drug approved, right? So think about what we learned about not fentanyl. What was the other drug with the sacklers? What was the drug the sacklers got approved? It wasn't Oxy. Was it Oxy, right? It was, remember the movie on Netflix when the sacklers worked with the guy from the FDA and he said, man, this is just heroin. We can't approve this, right? You don't have any, what was the thing he needed? You needed for a drug to get approved, so it's not just dope. You need something like, what are you going to use it for, right? And the sacklers couldn't come up with anything, right? You guys remember that movie, right? So when you understand FDA filings and how things become a drug legally in America, then you understand that 7 years is a quick. It takes 7 years as a fast track to get a drug approved in America. Typically, it takes anywhere from 7 to 15 years. You know what I'm saying? 7 years, the fast track is 2 years clinical trials with rats. Then you do 2 years clinical trials with humans. And then you got to go through FDA. Once you go through clinical trials, then you got to go through FDA approval. That can take years because everybody's trying to get approved all at the same time. You're just one company with one drug. We got to get in line. And the cyclers and big companies have big money. So these are just intimate things that I understand from my background, why I created a podcast, why I can speak intelligently about the fentanyl crisis. And I don't even do content on the quarantine anymore. There were other logistic things that I talked about as far as my background in biotech. So one of the things that people never really talked about that Operation Warp Speed was the logistics. One of the logistic nightmares was, in order to give the COVID vaccine, the COVID from Pfizer vaccine needed to be kept at subcutaneous temperatures, 35 degrees, right? What I say logistically is all pharmacies don't have the sub-zero refrigerators to house that, right? And then what else do we learn? So number one, logistically, the freezers never were there. The freezers never were going to get there. So that would make the efficacy go down. So you can still give it, but it won't be as effective. So the efficacy went down because pharmacies didn't have those freezers to keep it at the proper temperature. What else? When you administer something like that, you can't use a regular needle. You have to use a different needle. So most people got the injection with the orange needle that drug addicts use in Philadelphia, but you needed the blue one that AIDS patients use, but it costs more money. Why did you need the blue one and not the orange one? Well, the blue one could get the liquid out of the bottle at that temperature and to keep the efficacy high. The orange syringe would not get out the full dose out the bottle. It was too cold. And so the efficacy went down. So I did my research. I said, okay, are you guys going to make more syringes? When Biden took office, they told Biden about the shortage on syringes because they wanted you to get multiple shots. Remember, you can't use the same syringe. And they said, Biden, we have a problem. We don't have enough syringes to actually administer the injections that you are mandating. We need the company who makes the blue syringes to make more. And that company said, no. That company said, no, we're not going to make more. So logistically, it was an efficacy nightmare. And people like me were the only people who understood about the freezers and about the syringes. Now, let's get into, back to Venezuela.
I want to go back to something that Bakari said. He said that those orders that were given of the drug boats in Venezuela were illegal. Can you cite those fact sheets, please?
Yes, because it's actually called the Due Process Clause of the United States of America. Because can you point to boats that actually had drugs on them? Do you know that? Do you know about the Trinidadians who were killed innocently, who were just fishermen? Can you actually kill those fishermen without due process? So the answer to the question is yes. I can cite the Constitution, just as Scott did.
If you go and say that those were members of Al-Qaeda or ISIS coming to our shores with enough drugs or enough ammunition to kill 1,000, 100,000 Americans, wouldn't you expect our commander-in-chief to take action to stop that? That's what's happening here. That is what's happening, by the way. That's what happens in every war zone, whether you go to Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, Somalia. Go there. Let's talk about it.
Give me one name of one individual that you can compare to Al-Qaeda coming through that had enough fentanyl to kill all these Americans. Can you name one?
Let's go.
I just showed 80,000. I just showed 80,000. I showed 80,000 a year dying. What is he talking about? I just showed 80,000 a year dying from fentanyl. Maybe it's not enough. These are the numbers of fentanyl deaths, bro. These are the numbers of fentanyl deaths. What is he talking about? And I just explained to you international waters. 2022, 73,000 fentanyl involved deaths. Fentanyl involved deaths. 73,000, 72,000, 48,000. This is an international narco crisis. Has he not seen Philadelphia? Has he not seen Kensington? Has he not seen South Chicago? Has he not seen Memphis? What the front door is he talking about? Please, somebody help me out. Bakari, Sellers, what the fuck are you talking about, brother? I just explained to you in international waters, brother. This was a speedboat. Hold on, let me go back to that. This was a fucking speedboat. This was a fucking speedboat. Look at this, Bakari. This is a speedboat. Bakari, this is a speedboat. Speeding into international waters. You do not have in America. Hold on, let's have a real talk, Bakari. Do you need a driver's license to drive a car in America? Do you need a boating license? Do you know if I take my kid to a little park, they make you get a fishing license and it's just fake fish? They want you to understand that you can't fish without a license. You have to get a fishing license. You have to get a boating license. You have to get a permit to in those waters. You can't be in those waters as a fisherman or as a drug dealer without license, permission, and permit. This is a fast boat. This is a fast boat. Bakari is leaving out the obvious. This is why Democrats suck. You don't need a boating license. Get your bitch ass up out of here. You don't need a boating license. Yo, you're going to get people arrested. What's wrong with America, the damn trolls? You can't be from my country. You don't need a boating license. You don't need a fishing license. I fish. We sit down on the river. We smoke a joint, drink a beer. And if the fishing gang come up to you and you out there chilling, smoking a joint, you ain't supposed to be smoking a joint, but most people, we be out there smoking a joint, having a beer. We got open alcohol. At the very least, to show respect for fishing game, you better have a license, and it depends on the fish, because a lot of places you fish are protected. You can't catch every fish. If the fishing gang comes up to you and you got fish in that cooler that you're gonna get a ticket. You can get arrested. If the fish is too big, if the fish is too small, you can get arrested. Who's the clowns in the chat? Never. You're not American. You're not American. But back to this fast boat, because Bakari Sellers said, how do we know it's not fishermen? Bakari Sellers, this is not a fisherman boat. Bakari, this is not a fisherman boat. This is a fast moving boat. Does not have proper licenses and permissions to be in international waters.
Saying that was illegal, that killing people who are no.
Do you guys understand my argument? You can put your argument in the chat, but my argument is this is obviously because this is Navy SEAL Team 6. See, do you understand the people who blew up this boat, this fast-moving boat was Navy SEAL Team 6. These are the highest trained military operatives in the globe, and they know how to identify a fisherman versus this fast-moving boat in international waters. You cannot just move this fast close to America. They could have had a bomb on the boat. They could have had a bomb on the boat. Do you understand? They could have had a bomb on the boat. How long do we wait? When do we blow up the boat moving 100 miles per hour toward American waters? Bakari Sellers, when can we blow up the boat? Do we have to pull over the boat? If the boat is going 100 miles per hour, if it's a fast boat, how do we pull over a fast boat to find out if they have drugs and guns? Huh?
Back to something that Bakari said. He said that those orders that were given of the drug boats in Venezuela were illegal. Can you cite those statutes, please?
Yes, because it's actually called the Due Process Clause of the United States of America. Because can you point to one of those boats that actually had drugs on them? Do you know that? Do you know about the Trinidadians?
How do we know if they have drugs? This is a fast boat, Bakari. How do you know if this is a fast boat? This is a fast boat, and you can't even do this at night. Everything about this is illegal, Bakari. The time of day that they're driving, the waters is illegal. The speed is illegal. You know, anybody got a jet ski? Anybody got a ticket on the water from the police? Drinking while on the boat. You know you can't drink and be drunk on the boat. Do you know you can't go certain speeds on your jet ski? Who has got a ticket on your jet ski before? Because I know it's a lot of broke boys in the chat. All the broke boy Democrats. All the broke boy Democrats be quiet. All the broke boy Democrats be quiet. Anybody ever got a ticket on their jet ski? Anybody got a ticket on their jet ski for going too fast? Huh? You can't go as fast as you want to go. So this is a fast boat on international waters. They're breaking 7 laws and they're dangerous. They're on their way to America at 100 miles per hour and I can't identify the boat. So what happens? Excuse me, Captain. Yes, sir. I have a boat moving at 100 knots in international waters, getting close to the border. What do we do, sir? Sir, I have a speedboat, a fast boat. What time? It's 3 o'clock in the morning, sir. It's pitch black. We don't have enough intel to identify, but I do know this, sir. Wait a minute. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Yes, sir. It's pitch black, sir. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black and it's a fast boat. It's moving at over 100 knots and it's barreling straight for the Florida coast. I don't have time to identify who or what is in the boat, but I do know it will hit the coast of America in the next 3 minutes. Sir, what do we do? Disable the engines. Oh my God. You've been watching too many cartoons. Disable the engines. Disable the engines. This fool think it's a cartoon. No, I have a missile. Do you understand how cold? I have a missile. So if my superior says take the boat out, I'm going to use a missile or torpedo and blow it up. Do you understand? Bakari sellers, I'm going to use my missile and blow it up. And Bakari never answered the question. Bakari never answered the question.
Who were killed innocently, who were just fishermen? Can you actually kill those fishermen without due process? So the answer to the question is yes. I can cite the Constitution, just as Scott did.
If you go and say that those were members of Al Qaeda or ISIS coming to our shores with enough drugs or enough ammunition to kill 1,000, 100,000 Americans, wouldn't you expect our commander-in-chief to take action to stop that? That's what's happening here. That is what's happened, by the way. That's what happens in every war zone, whether you go to Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, Somalia. Go there. Let's talk about it.
Give me one name of one individual that you can compare to Al Qaeda coming through that had enough fentanyl to kill all these Americans. Can you name one?
Let's go to what these drug lords are talking about, which is that we are.
He's being facetious like Americans are not dying from fentanyl. This is the worst part about the liberal Democrats. This is what I hate about liberal Democrats. They want to act like that no Americans are being murdered by fentanyl. There is no drug crisis. Biden didn't have cognitive decline. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have inflation under Biden. Eggs weren't $10. Whenever the Democrats talk, they just leave out all the facts. And he's up there acting like he's so indignant as if we don't have Kensington, Philadelphia, and over 80,000 a year deaths from fentanyl. Bakari sellers, what do you mean, Bakari? These are the numbers, Bakari. How many Americans got to die for the Congress? How many Americans got to die for the Dems, y'all? How many Americans got to die for the Democrats? I just want to know.
Actively ensuring that the war on drugs that we've been doing for 50 years, which has not worked one single day.
Yeah, we can agree on that.
So the war on, and he's laughing. This is a black man. This is a sad state of affairs. The war on drugs has decimated black America, and he thinks it's funny. He thinks it's fucking funny.
One name of one individual that you can compare to Al Qaeda coming through that had enough fentanyl to kill all these Americans. Can you name one?
Let's go to what these drug lords are talking about, which is that we are actively ensuring that the war on drugs that we've been doing for 50 years, which has not worked one single day.
Yeah, we can agree on that.
Has not been successful. Has not been successful. And what did I start off the podcast by saying? This is the first president. This is the first president. This is the first president to actually go after drugs in South America. This is the first president to go after drugs in South America. No one else has dealt with the problem at the root. Everyone else has arrested black men. The Democrats, when they get tough on crime, black Americans go to jail. That's how the Democrats deal with tough on crime. Black Americans go to jail. I am so proud of my president today, because if it was a Democrat, if Kamala Harris was president, you know how she would deal with the drug problem? She wouldn't stop the cocaine at its source. She wouldn't stop the fentanyl at its source. She would arrest me. And I know a lot of you trolling in the chat would be happy because you're racist fucks. Kamala Harris would arrest me. The Democrats would arrest me and tell you you were safe as cartels take over your cities. Like Trenta de Agua kicked black Americans out of their apartments under Democratic administration. Do you know what would have happened if Kamala Harris would have been president and their open borders? The cartel would have ran rampant in America. The cartel would have ran rampant in America. That's what would have happened if Kamala Harris would have been made president. I got a video from Pete Hegseth, baby. Shout out to Pete Hegseth in the Department of War. And how many? 80 bodies. Shout out to you, Pete. Thank you for keeping America's streets clean. Thank you for keeping America safe. Shout out to Pete Hegseth in the Department of War in the Trump administration.
So, Secretary, what legal authority did the Pentagon invoke to strike that boat full of drug smugglers?
We have the absolute and complete authority to conduct that. First of all, just the defense of the American people alone. 100,000 Americans were killed each year under the previous administration because of an open border and open drug traffic flow. That is an assault on the American people. I said we smoked a drug boat, and there's 11 narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean. And when other people try to do that, they're going to meet the same fate.
So, Secretary, what legal...
That's right, baby. That's shout out to Pete Hegseth. Shout out to Pete Hegseth. Shout out to Pete Hegseth. Shout out to Pete Hegseth in the Department of War. Shout out to Pete Hegseth in the Department of War, man. Shout out to Pete Hegseth in the Department of War. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button.
What authority did the Pentagon invoke to strike that boat full of drug smugglers?
We have the absolute and complete authority to conduct that. First of all, just the defense of the American people alone. 100,000 Americans were killed each year under the previous administration because of an open border and open drug traffic flow.
And I showed the numbers, Pete. We showed the numbers here, Pete. I showed the numbers here, Pete. I got your back, Pete Hegseth. Heggy baby. Can I get Pete Heggy baby in the chat? I got your back, Pete. I got your back, Pete. I showed the numbers. 80,000 a year under Biden. The number since Trump has become president, the number has dropped. The number has dropped, and it's going to continue to drop. Fentanyl deaths are going down under Trump. Don't you want that? Fentanyl deaths have decreased under Trump. Ain't that the goal? Ain't that the goal? America first, American lives first. Ain't that the goal? Fentanyl deaths have decreased under Trump. Over 40,000, 80,000 a year. And Pete Hegseth is adding in other deaths per cartel. But Pete Hegseth said 100,000 a year. I attributed 80,000 simply to fentanyl. That's not cocaine. That's not gangs and drugs and murders fighting over the drugs. I said 80,000 a year just in fentanyl-related deaths. We're not talking about cocaine, just fentanyl. So Pete Hegseth, thank you. And you know what I love most about this video is that Pete Hegseth said that he wants this to be a warning to other drug dealers. Oh man, they took the sound away. Speaker, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I didn't know that.
That is an assault on the American people. I said we smoked a drug boat, and there's 11 narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean. And when other people try to do that, they're going to meet the same fate.
So, Secretary, what legal authority did the Pentagon invoke to strike that boat full of drug smugglers?
We have the absolute and complete authority to conduct that. First of all, just the defense of the American people alone.
That's where I've been focusing on this morning. This morning, I've been focused on just the defense of the American people alone. It doesn't, I said, thank you, Pete. It doesn't matter if it was cocaine in the boat. The type of boat it was, it doesn't matter if it was cocaine in the boat. Is my sound back? Is my sound back? Let me know. Is my sound back? It doesn't matter if it was cocaine in the boat. Shout out to Pete Hegseth. Breaking news. The Republican-led House Armed Service Committee is now investigating Trump and Pete Hegseth for their possible war crimes, vowing rigorous oversight. They're now being investigated by the House and the Senate. This is huge. Washington, D.C. House Armed Service Committee Chairman Mike Rogers, Republican from Alabama, and Ranking Member Adam Smith, the Democrat from Washington, issued the following joint statement. This committee is committed to providing rigorous oversight of the Department of Defense military operations in the Caribbean. We take seriously the reports of follow-on strikes on boats alleged to be ferrying narcotics in the South Com region and are taking bipartisan action to gather a full accounting of the operation. There's a couple key things I want to point out. South Com. Do you guys know what that is? Let me read this again. The Department of Defense is the Department of War, military operations in the Caribbean. We take seriously the reports of follow-on strikes. Write that down in the chat. I see you out there, BJ. BJ, keep these notes for me so we can stay on topic and people understand what we're doing. We're educating, giving facts. Follow-on strikes. That's why we're having this conversation. Do you understand there is already 80 people dead, and Pete and Trump have been doing this all year? This is not the first boat that was blown up. Have a good day, baby. I love you. Thank you, babe. Pete. Okay, what did you have? Oh, perfect. That was good. Love you. So what I want to call out about this statement is follow-on strikes. So we got to define a follow-on strike, because that's really the question here this morning. It's not the first missile. And that's what I want people to understand when we're having this conversation. It's not the first missile. It's not whether or not it was a sanctioned hit. It was a sanctioned hit. They were supposed to be blown up. The only reason we're having this conversation because of the second missile. And liberal Democrats who want to send propaganda. I've been hearing a lot of propaganda in the chat. The only propaganda is the liberal socialist Democrats who want to say the people who lived are survivors. I've never heard a terrorist, drug dealing, criminal, felonious motherfucker be called a survivor. He is not a survivor. He is a motherfucking criminal on a fast boat in South Com. There's so much to extrapolate from this. Follow-on strikes, number one, define that for BJ. Put that in the chat. Tell them what a follow-on strike is. Number two, South Com. There was a dickhead in the chat earlier talking about international versus American waters. Fuck you. South Com, that's what's so important in the South Com region. The Navy SEALs would not do this unless they had permission. Do you guys understand where this boat was? Do you understand why we're having a conversation? It's not about the first missile. It's about the second missile, and liberal Democrats trying to play with terminology and nomenclature and say, well, the first people who were killed on the boat, Pete Hegseth had permission to kill them. But the last two people, because they didn't die the first time, are now considered survivors. That is not true. That's a misinterpretation of the Articles of War. They are not survivors. If they were survivors, then the first missile was illegal. If they were survivors, then no, both missiles were legal. Both missiles were sanctioned. They completed the job. They completed the job. Shout out to the military. And you know what's so bad about this? When the Democrats try to use situations like this to go after Trump, who gets hurt in the middle? The same thing with the shutdown. Who gets hurt? The same thing with the Seditious Six. You are using the military to do your lawfare, and it is sick, bro. It is sick, and it's cowardly. When you wanted to get those 5 seats, you shut down the government and you didn't pay military soldiers and military wives. Now you're trying to go after Trump again, and you're going to use the Navy SEAL Team 6 who killed not only Saddam Hussein, but what's the boy name from 9/11? He was in Pakistan, bin Laden. So now SEAL Team 6 is in question. Now you want to say SEAL Team 6 may have done something inappropriate. Do you see how the Democrats are? They just throw people under the bus. They don't care about anyone. So now you're putting in question these orders. So then potentially members of SEAL Team 6 could be reprimanded. Do we want to cripple our armed services? What is the goal of the Democrats? What is the goal of the Democrats? So now the SEAL Team 6 is not good. That SEAL Team 6 is not good enough and smart enough and prolific enough to know when and not to kill. You think SEAL Team 6 would kill innocent people? This is the perverted part about the Democrats. Do you think SEAL Team 6, highly trained American soldiers, high character, high ethics, you think they just running outside killing people? No. SEAL Team 6 would never do that. And this is the part the Democrats leave out. This is the part that the Democrats leave out. This is the part that the Democrat, and it's sick. Hegeseth order on first Caribbean boat strike. Officials say kill them all. It's not the first strike. I just read to you. Let me read it again. Defense Secretary Pete Hegeseth ordered Navy SEAL Team 6, listen, Navy SEAL Team 6 on September 2nd to kill everybody aboard a suspected drug boat near Venezuela, leading to a second missile after spotting 2 survivors in the wreckage. So listen, there was an order to SEAL Team 6, take out the boat. So when they took out the boat, 2 people lived, and then they followed the orders and took out the last 2 people. So now Democrats, because they got a hold of a video, want to say that those last 2 deaths were not legal. If they're not legal, does anyone on SEAL Team 6 now have to be prosecuted? Do you understand how the Democrats, in order to get to Trump, they are willing to sacrifice our highest, hardest working Americans? They did it during the shutdown. They're trying to do it again here. The operations since early September have sunk multiple vessels, killing over 80 people tied to fentanyl smuggling cartels. Did you hear that? They said they have killed over 80 people. None of those reports are out this morning. They're only talking about 2 people. But the full spectrum of the debate is Pete Hegeseth and Donald Trump has killed over 80 people. And how many boats? I don't know how many boats, but 80 people tied to fentanyl smuggling cartels. Though officials release no public proof of drugs or identities on every boat, critics call it a potential war crime. Pete Hegeseth responded. Pete Hegeseth responded. When Pete Hegeseth was asked, did he have the Pentagon invoke? When Pete Hegeseth was asked, did they have permission? Pete Hegeseth responded that we have overall.
Mr. Secretary, what authority did the Pentagon invoke to strike that boat full of drug smugglers?
We have the absolute and complete authority to conduct that. First of all, just the defense of the American people alone. 100,000 Americans were killed each year under the previous administration because of an open border and open drug traffic flow.
Was there
that is an assault on the American people. I said we smoked a drug boat, and there's 11 narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean. And when other people try to do that, they're going to meet the same fate.
Mr. Secretary, what legal?
And this is the same thing the Filipino president said. That's what I love about it, that we sunk a drug boat and there are 11 drug dealers at the bottom of the ocean. And if any other drug dealers want to do the same thing, then they need to know that that's what will happen to them. And then this is what the Democrats say. So I showed you everything. And this is what this is what Bakari Sellers and the Democrats want to say.
I want to go back to something that Bakari said. He said that those orders that were given of the drug boats in Venezuela were illegal. Can you cite those statutes, please?
Yes, because it's actually called the due process clause of the United States of America. Because can you point to one of those boats?
That is not an answer. So everybody watching, he said due process clause. That is not an answer. We're talking about the articles of war and what were the orders. So Bakari Sellers just dodged the question. And then he's going to double talk. Pay attention, everybody. She asked, what was the broken law? What were the law that was broken? How is that second missile illegal, Bakari? He did not verbatim tell us why is that second missile considered a war crime. Now listen to the Democrat double talk.
That actually had drugs on them. Do you know that? Do you know about the Trinidadians who were killed innocently, who were just fishermen? Can you actually kill those fishermen without due process?
That's not the answer, Bakari. That's not the answer, Bakari.
So the answer to the question is yes. I can cite the Constitution. This is
cite it. Cite it. He didn't cite it. Double talk.
God did.
If you go and say that those were members of Al Qaeda or ISIS coming to our shores with enough drugs or enough ammunition to kill 100,000 Americans, wouldn't you expect our commander in chief to take action to stop that? That's what's happening here. That is what's happened, by the way. That's what happens in every war zone, whether you go to Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran, Somalia. Go there. Let's talk about it.
Give me one name of one individual that you can compare to Al Qaeda coming through that had enough fentanyl to kill all these Americans. Can you name one?
Let's go to what these drug dealers are talking about, which is that we are.
This is what Democrats do. Now he's changing, and now he's asking the question without ever answering the question as to what article in the Constitution designates the second missile as illegal. Bakari, Sellers, anyone in the chat. What article of the Constitution designates the second missile to follow through? This SEAL Team 6 broke the law. SEAL Team 6, Bakari.
Actively ensuring that the war on drugs that we've been doing for 50 years, which has not worked one single day.
Yeah, right? We can agree on that.
So the war on drugs, Bakari is laughing. Bakari Sellers is laughing. She said the war on drugs has been unsuccessful for 50 years. The war on drugs has been unsuccessful for 50 years. Under the Democrats, how did the Democrats do the war on drugs? Well, Joe Biden did the crime bill. What did it do? 3 strikes and you're out. Is it 3 strikes for Venezuelans? Huh? What about Bolivia where they grow the cocaine? Who gets the 3 strikes? Who gets life in prison? Well, black men get 3 strikes. Black men get life in prison. No one Bolivia gets 3 strikes. No one in Venezuela gets 3 strikes. No one who produces and grows and ships cocaine gets life in prison. Black men. Democrats, you know how Democrats do crime. You know how Democrats deal with drugs. They arrest black men. There are so many jails in California. They have bunk beds 4 levels high. There is no more room. Why is Trump doing this? Because there is no more room in prisons to arrest black men, and the problem persists. We have been arresting black men for drugs in America for over 50 years, and it hasn't fixed the problem. So what do we need to do? Thank you, Trump. Trump says, let's go to Bolivia. Let's go to Venezuela. Let's burn down the coca fields. How many people agree with Trump? Let's go to the source. Let's go to the source. Let's burn down the coca fields. Let's kill drug dealers like the Filipino president. Let's let South American cartels know you have to sell your cocaine somewhere else. Because if you try to ship cocaine into America, we're going to kill you. I love it. Thank you, Pete Hegseth. Thank you, Donald Trump. If you try to ship cocaine into America, we're going to kill you. We're not going to ask questions. We're not going to stop a boat that's moving at 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of night at 100 knots. We're not going to ask that boat what you're doing if you're traveling to the Southcom region. Does anybody know what the Southcom region is? See, no one knows about international waters. No one knows about the laws of maritime law, Maritime law, I talked to you about municipal law. I talked to you about maritime law, international waters versus American waters. I said Trump shut down Venezuelan airspace. Did you guys know that, how serious this has become? Trump shut down Venezuelan airspace. Anything that flies in Venezuela will be shot down per President Trump. There is no more flying in Venezuela. Trump and the president administration just shut down Venezuelan airspace. How about that for you, Bakari Sellers? How about that for you, Democrats? This is not a sanction. This is a declaration of total air supremacy. Maduro responded calling Trump Emperor Gringo because he's been watching the No King protests because the Democrats are sowing seeds of division within America. And then you got neo-national people from across the whole globe looking at your No King protests. And so somebody from a drug dealing cartel country like Venezuela think he has the right to call my president an emperor when Joe Biden been in office for 50 years. Nancy Pelosi been in office for 50. Did you know Nancy Pelosi is retiring? I believe Nancy Pelosi is retiring because of my reporting. Because every day I tell you Nancy Pelosi had $3 million when she became Congresswoman. She's going to retire with over $400 million. What about the millionaire Democrats? What about the millionaire liberal Democrats? What about the Gavin Newsom, multi-millionaire, but no house is rebuilt in LA? Maxine Waters, multi-millionaire. Nancy Pelosi, multi-millionaire. She didn't start at 400 million. She started at 3 million. She's been in Congress for over 40 years. Who is your king? I just want to know, as we talk about Trump as an emperor. Trump only been president 4 years. He's only 10 months into his second term. But Joe Biden was in the Senate in the fucking 70s, bro. Joe Biden was in the Senate in the fucking 80s, bro. Joe Biden helped the Clintons with the crime bill in 1993. You motherfuckers weren't even born in 1993. Do you know how long Joe Biden has been part of the deep state? You want to call Trump a king? Joe Biden was in the Senate before he became Barack Obama's vice president over 30 years, brothers. Brothers and sisters! Joe Biden was in politics, and a senator has a lot of fucking power. He wasn't an alderman. He wasn't a supervisor. He wasn't a congressman. He was a senator for 30 fucking years, bro. Before becoming vice president for 8 years and then president for 4 years. Joe Biden spent 12 years in the fucking White House after 30 fucking years in the Senate. Why don't you say it like that? Why don't you tell the American people the fucking truth when you say no kings? No kings, my fucking ass. If Joe Biden would have won, he would have had 16 years in the White House. 16 fucking years in the White House. After that long in the fucking White House, you need to have some accomplishments. You know what he did on his way out? He pardoned his son. He pardoned Fauci. He pardoned the J6 committee. If January 6th was so bad and those guys were so guilty, why the fuck did he have to pardon the January 6th committee? This is fucking spooky, you guys. This is fucking spooky. And the Democrats wanted to give him 16 years. The Democrats wanted to give Joe Biden 16 fucking years in the White House. He got 12. He got 12 out of you fucking idiots. Joe Biden got 12 years out of you fucking sycophants. Do you realize what you did and what you almost did? You almost gave Joe Biden 16 fucking years after he caused the problem in the Ukraine. His son was on the board of Burisma making $40,000 a month. Hunter Biden had a job in the Ukraine at the biggest power company in the Ukraine. And Joe Biden was on the phone threatening them, saying, I'm going to withhold $1 billion if you don't fucking pay my son. You can't make this up. We all heard it. We all heard it. We heard the phone call. And then he pardoned fucking Hunter. In the last hour of his presidency, he pardoned Fauci. After 12 years. So what did you get? I just want to know. Tell them about Ukraine. Joe Biden was the head of the Ukraine-U.S. policy under Obama for 8 years. Joe Biden is the one who installed Zelensky, kicked out the old president, and Kamala Harris went to the Munich Security Council and gave speeches saying, fuck you, Putin. Ukraine could be part of NATO. Putin had one request. Putin said the Ukraine could not be part of NATO or I'm going to war. Putin has said it over and over again. He didn't want to proliferate Russia. He wants to protect his people. Putin said, if you bring NATO to Ukraine, it's going to be a fucking problem. What did Kamala do? See, Kamala had her borders mixed up. Kamala had her borders. See, Kamala thought she was the border czar of Ukraine and Russia. No, you were the border czar of America and Mexico, and this damn Venezuelan crisis should be at Kamala's doorstep, because Kamala should have been working with South America. Kamala should have been working with the Mexico border. Instead, Kamala, is she black? I don't know if she's black. It's okay if she's black. I don't care if she's black, but is she the fucking border czar? She was in Munich giving speeches saying Ukraine has a right and a desire to be part of NATO. And Putin said, what the fuck did this black bitch just say? She said, Ukraine has a right and a desire to be part of NATO. And Putin said, this bitch is going to start World War III. Who the fuck put this bitch in power? She's supposed to be over here worried about the Mexican-American border, and she's in fucking Munich trying to start World War III under Joe Biden when Joe Biden was the head of the Ukraine policy. I can't make this shit up. I can't make this shit up. I can't make this shit up. So Trump just shut down airspace in Venezuela. Total supremacy, total badass. Now, the part of every nominee actually cares about, you are filled up today and it was under $3. Gas prices. Now, I just want to share one last thing. In Vegas, right now, you don't have your facts straight. What's the facts, bitch? What's the facts, bitch? What's the facts, bitch? You don't got no facts. You just like Bakari Sellers. You just want to talk shit in my chat and not give me real facts, huh? You don't want to have nothing to say in my chat, huh? What's the facts, Jack? Huh? What's the facts, Jack? They don't got no facts. They just want to play a hate. They don't got no facts. They just want to play a hate, huh? They don't got no facts. Pete Hegseth is a war criminal, should be fired immediately. The Washington Post, head of the Senate Armed Services Committee, vowed vigorous oversight. I read that already. Vigorous oversight, we read that already. Bakari Sellers looking like a fool. Shout out to Pete Hegseth, the biggest badass in America. I love my brother, Heggy Baby. Pete Heggy Baby doing this thing, doing this thug thizzle. You know what I'm saying? Pete said we killed over 80 people. Y'all. Major breaking news. Pete Hegseth is under formal investigation and faces possible criminal referral for allegedly ordering a second strike on survivors in the Caribbean. Mathematically, literally, it doesn't even make sense the way they even trying to frame this for ordering a second strike. There's over, let me just ask Grok, how many boats have been blown up? Let me just add, because this is just too much. How many boats have we blown up? Pete said 80. Pete said 80 dead. How many boats have we blown up? Because they're not contextually giving you the proper context of the argument so you can have a proper debate. They want to give you terminology and nomenclatures. Number of boats targeted and blown up. 22 fucking boats, you guys. Put it in the chat. 22 boats. This is not, you can't make this up. 22 boats. So this is not about the boats. It's just like the Epstein files. These are fake headlines. This is the fake news, and the fake news comes out every time Trump is president. Remember last week what we learned? There were a lot of women creating videos saying the Democrats never cared about the victims. The Democrats never cared about the victims, and it became obvious this week. You don't hear nothing about the Epstein files. We voted to release them. Trump signed the bill into law, and then we find out about all these donations to the Democratic Party, and then the Democrats don't want to talk about Epstein anymore, right? So today they're talking about the boats being blown up, but they don't tell you that the fact that we've already blown up 22 boats and killed 80 people. They want you to focus on this one boat and this one missile and these two people who they are calling survivors. This is what propaganda is. When they don't give you the whole picture and they give you something so small that they focus your attention because they want you to think a certain thing. Why not give you the complete picture? Why don't you just tell them everything? They hate Pete Hegseth already. They hate me. They hate Trump. Why don't we just tell them the whole truth? 80 boats have been blown up. 22 boats have been blown up and 80 people have been killed in this aggression toward Venezuela and drug dealers. I just want to give you the facts. 22 boats. Number of boats targeted, blown up. 22 boats per Washington Post tally as of December 1st. This includes at least 21 confirmed lethal kinetic strikes. Did you guys hear that? Man, I'm giving out the news. Whoa, that MAGA! Whoa, that MAGA! Whoa, that MAGA! I said 22 boats blown up, This includes 21 confirmed lethal kinetic strikes announced by Hegseth, plus one additional in the disputed September 2nd double tap incident. Not all were fully sunk, some were disabled and scuttled, but all involved explosive ordnance leading to total losses, deaths, more than 80. Official Pentagon figure by Pete Hegseth in briefings, exact count is around 83 to 86, with no survivors confirmed in most cases. So what is the argument today? There are no survivors. So it cannot be about these two individuals who the Democrats want you to believe were survivors when they were drug dealing felonious criminals in illegal waters without permission to travel that fast and without permission to enter the American waters and then enter the American country. It didn't matter what was in the boat. Can I get that right now? It didn't matter what was in the boat. It did not matter what was in the boat. Do you guys understand? It did not matter what was in the boat. I'm your daddy. Somebody said, what are you in the chat? I'm your mama. I'm your daddy. I'm your brother in the alley. You know what I'm saying? Deaths more than 80. Exact count 83 to 86 per reports, with no survivors confirmed. And more. Hegseth referenced the 80 in total November 16th announcement of the 21st strike. So the Democrats want you to focus on this one thing, but there's been over 21 strikes and over 80 deaths. I just love giving you facts. I just love giving you facts. I love giving you facts, man. I love giving you guys facts, man. Come on, man. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into these facts, man. Let's get into these facts, baby. I love it. I love it. Woo! Maduro resurfaces in Caracas as Trump says he has spoken to Venezuelan president. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro made his first public appearance in days on Sunday, putting an end to speculation within the country that he had fled amid escalating tensions with the U.S. Maduro, who usually appears on Venezuelan television multiple times a week, had not been seen in public since Wednesday, when he posted a video of himself driving around Caracas on his Telegram channel, leading to interest and speculation as his whereabouts. On Sunday, he appeared at the annual Specialty Coffee Awards event in Eastern Caracas. In images that were broadcast online, the president sat before a crowd and handed out medals to coffee producers showcasing the top products. U.S. wants our oil, Maduro tells OPEC. Meanwhile, in what appeared to be a further ratcheting up of tensions, Maduro wrote to OPEC accusing the U.S. of seeking to seize Venezuela's oil reserve through force, while the president of Venezuela's National Assembly accused the U.S. of murder regarding recent military strikes on alleged drug boats. In the letter to Secretary General of OPEC, Hatchman Al-Gias, dated November 30th, Maduro accuses the United States of making constant and repeating express threats toward his country in a move that he says seriously endangers the stability of Venezuelan oil production and international market. Venezuela oil reserves are thought to be among the largest in the world. Venezuelan Foreign Affairs Minister Yvonne Gil posted letter to OPEC. How much oil is in America? I hate this oil argument. I hate how much oil is in America, because Trump wanted to open the pipeline. People think it's about, we don't need oil from nowhere else. We have more than enough oil in America to take care of ourselves. It's in America versus Venezuela. And come on, and if used, do we need? I just want to know. Y'all remember the pipeline? Y'all remember the pipeline? Somebody said tons, because this is the Democratic Socialist talking point. They don't care about Kensington. They don't care about the fentanyl, 80,000. Bakari sellers already said they don't care about the fentanyl death. They don't care about blacks being incarcerated for drugs. I want to know what the Democrats really care about. They don't care about gas prices under $3. I think all the Democrats want you to focus on is put on your colored lenses. All the Democrats want you to do is put on your colored lenses and hate white men. They don't even give you adequate reasons to hate white men. They just say hate white men. And what's sad is that some of you are so hurt. Some of you are so hurt that that's enough. That's enough. For some Democrat to say, hate this guy because he's white, you don't know shit about Pete Hegseth. You know what was so bad about the Pete Hegseth story is that Pete Hegseth has been divorced 3 times, and he still, as a man, has not given up. You know how hard it is to come back after divorce? People want to make fun of Pete Hegseth. I want to support my brother. What's wrong with men supporting men? And why does he have to be black or white or purple or green or brown? Why does his skin color matter? Why can't he just be a father like me? Why can't he just be American white like me? Why do we have to base everything on race? I've been divorced. It broke my heart. I miss my kids. I love you, Pete Hegseth. He been divorced 3 times. He didn't get on drugs. He didn't get on alcohol. You know, some people get divorced 1 time and become homeless. It hurts so bad that they can't recover from a lot of men who you see under the freeway have suffered from divorce, have been broken, not just monetarily, but spiritually, physically. Divorce is a motherfucker. Divorce is a motherfucker. I would never tease Pete for being divorced 3 times. But what I will do is commend Pete. After being divorced, he still takes care of his kids. He still has a job. He still loves his country. He still works hard as an American father, as an American citizen. How the fuck can you be mad at Pete Hegseth when I know I've been in church? I've been in men's Bible study groups when men are crying. Do you hear me, trolls? I've been in Bible study, men's only groups in my church where men are crying, gut-wrenching because she's not coming back. And we pray for him and we console him. And I know how he feels because I was there before. So I don't laugh at him because I was in the same Bible study with tears in my eyes. I love you, Pete Hegseth. I love you, Pete Hegseth. And fuck you, Lashana. Fuck you, Lashana, for thinking it's funny. Fuck you, Lashana, for thinking it's funny. It's not funny. Divorce is not funny. Fuck you, Lashana. Fuck you, Lashana. It's not funny. It's not funny. He got divorced 3 times. I think that's a strong man. I think that's a strong man who was able to rebuild his life after divorce. You know who else got divorced multiple times and still made his billions back and still became president? Who else got divorced multiple times, went broke, and didn't give up on life and got it all back? Because this is the American story. This is how American men, we deal with defeat. I want to know who else got divorced multiple times, lost his billions, and still became president. Who was president and then they fucked him over his first administration and then he went back, he was a billionaire and he ran and won again. He ran and won again. Huh? Donald Trump. Divorced multiple times, went broke, and still became president after they fucked him off and put Biden in office, installed Biden as president, lied about the election. Donald Trump became president again. See, in America, we don't just take defeat lying down. Shout out to Trump. Shout out to Pete Hegseth, because these are examples for young American men that even when you get knocked down, you get back up. These are examples for young American men that even when you get knocked down, you get back up. So what? See, Pete Hegseth, what do you want him to be? Red pill? Donald Trump is not red pill. I'm not red pill. I got divorced. I got remarried. Do you know there are men on the internet who make fun of me because I got remarried? Because they don't believe in marriage. The red pill internet doesn't believe in marriage, but Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump believe in God, marriage, and country. We got remarried. We got remarried. We don't hate women. We don't be on the internet bashing women. Right? Just because I got divorced, I'm not on the internet bashing women. I got remarried. I love my wife. I love my kids. I thank God that I found a good woman. You understand? I thank God that I found a good woman. Gas is under $3 a gallon. They want to say the U.S. oil reserves, based on the latest data from U.S. Energy Information Administration, OPEC's 2025 annual statistical bulletin, and other reliable sources like Rutgers, BP estimates. Here's a comparison of proven crude oil reserves economically recoverable under current conditions and production. Note, Venezuela's reserves are heavily extra heavy crude from the Orinoco Belt. Remember, Trump said they have the worst oil. We don't even want their oil, but the Democrat liberal social media want you to believe that we're going to go to war with Venezuela over oil. Remember, they did that same shit over Iraq and got America tearing each other apart. I don't think the Democrats like America. I don't think George Soros and the people funding the Democrats really care about America and unity in America, which is costlier. Did you hear this? Let me read something to you for all the idiots in the chat. Note, right now we're doing a comparison between Venezuela and America and who has the most oil. And just to see realistically, do we need their oil? Do we need their oil? So this is it says and Trump just said they got the worst oil. Now let me read to you the facts. It says Venezuela's reserves are heavily extra heavy crude. What kind of fucking nomenclature is that? It's heavy twice in the definition. Listen to this. Venezuela's oil reserves are heavily extra heavy crude oil from the Orinoco Belt, which is costlier and more complex to extract, refine than the U.S. lighter shale oil. Production figures average for 2025. Do you guys understand why I'm bringing this up? Because they want to tell you that we need Venezuela's oil. Well, I just read to you that America's oil is easier to access and easier to process when the Venezuelan oil is known as extra heavy crude, heavily extra dash heavy crude. That's the metric. So it says proven reserves, 46 billion barrels, 300 billion, United States, 46 billion barrels, Venezuela, 300 billion barrels. Venezuela has 6 times more oil than America. 2025 production, 13 million barrels, record high. Venezuela, 950,000 barrels. U.S. produces 14 times more. These are complex economic issues. I don't think anyone, I got to show this because I don't think anyone is truly going to understand. The intellect is not here. YouTube purposely sends idiots and trolls to my chat. There are a few people who understand this, but most of you are too fucking stupid to get it. But I'm going to show it anyway for you fucking idiots. So check out the math. So there is 6 times more oil in Venezuela. There is a problem though, because Venezuela oil is heavily extra heavy crude, right? And this is the problem. It is costlier and more complex to extract and refine. Because of that, even though they have more oil than us, the U.S. produced 13 million barrels versus Venezuela, 900,000 barrels. The U.S. produces 14 times more oil. Why do we need their oil? Can anybody just be honest? I had to do the math. The U.S. produces 14 times more oil. The U.S. produces 14. Yes, I'm using grok, bitch. Yes, I'm using grok, bitch. Don't just say grok, bitch. Find a better stat. Beat me. Can you beat me? You just gonna say he's using grok. Do you think I know this shit by heart? I'm doing research. I'm doing research, right? And can you provide better information? You can't provide better information. Can you counter my information? Then shut the fuck up and just be a dickhead in the chat. Double tap hit the like button. Double tap hit the like button. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm doing a great fucking job. I am doing a great fucking job. We are kicking major ass. I'm doing a great fucking job. And you just talking shit and you're not even doing a good job at that. Does the U.S. need Venezuelan oil? The short answer, no. The U.S. does not need Venezuelan oil for energy or security. The U.S. is now the world's top oil producer. See, this is what I mean by propaganda and the Democrats. They say this bullshit. They say Trump wants their oil. Trump wants to take over. They don't give you proper context. Listen to this. The U.S. is now the world's top oil producer and net exporter. Since 2019, we don't need anybody's fucking oil. We don't need Iraq's oil. Do you understand? We don't need Iraq's oil. We don't need oil from China. Somebody said fucking China. Somebody said fucking China. We don't need shit. America is a city on the hill. We make our own energy. Do you even know the issues with China and Russia and the demographic issues? And the fact that China and Russia have to trade in order to be a superpower. China doesn't make enough energy. China doesn't make enough food. You need 4 things to be a superpower, and China and Russia don't have all 4. The only superpower that has all 4 is America. And we're insulated by water. We are the #1 country for a reason. It's not just because white men say America. We are the #1 because of our location, because of our resources, and because of our capital, which is the human capital. And no one else, we have more young 18-year-olds than anybody else. Why did Russia have to go to war with the Ukraine? Russia was facing a population issue, just like in China, because of the fat emperors. Russia in 2020, when Russia went to war with Ukraine, that was the last year Russia would have had enough 18-year-old men to go into a war, because the 18-year-old men in Russia have been declining for the last 20 years. So Russia is at a point where they don't have enough 18-year-old men to fight a global conflict. Russia could never sustain. They don't have the human capital to sustain a global offense against America and NATO allies. They don't have enough 18-year-old men. The same thing is true with China. Because of the one-child policy, you have something in China called fat emperors, where you have more 12-year-olds than you have 18-year-olds. So China has a lot of 12-year-olds and a lot of 80-year-olds, but not enough military-age young men to fight a conflict. This is the truth about Russia and China and geopolitics globally. Now, as it pertains to oil and trade, we don't need to trade for anything. We don't need anything from anyone. We have everything we need here in America. America is the top oil producer net, with domestic output covering 100% of its 20 million barrel. Do you understand? No one has read this. I haven't heard this. I'm going to read something to you that you could put in your cap and smoke it. America is the #1 oil producer, and America produces enough oil to cover 100% of its needs, which is 20 million BPD consumption. Right? Imports total 6 to 7 million, mostly from Canada, Mexico, and Saudi Arabia. But these are for specific refinery optimizations, e.g. blending heavy Venezuelan crude with light U.S. shale oil. Venezuela's share is tiny and replaceable. Do you guys understand how much propaganda has been put out over the weekend? I'm going to read this again. Venezuelans' oil share is tiny and replaceable. We're not blowing up fast boats over oil. I just proved it. Bakari sellers, sit down. We are not blowing up fast boats over oil. We are the #1 oil producer in the globe. We produce 14 times more oil than Venezuela, and Venezuela's oil is not even usable on the global market unless mixed with better oil from America or Saudi Arabia. These are facts. Also, America produces enough oil to cover 100% of its needs. How many times have you heard that? when discussions about Iraq, Afghanistan. Have you ever heard these numbers that America produces 100% of its needs, which is 20 million BPD, barrels per, what does BPD mean? Barrels per what? Put it in the chat. What does BPD mean? What does BPD mean? I know it's barrels per what? Barrels per pound. What does it mean? Barrels per day, BPD, barrels per day. 1 barrel equals 42 US gallons, about 159 liters. So when you hear US produces 13.5 million barrels per day, 13.5 million barrels of oil every single day, Venezuela is about 950,000 BPD, less than 1 million barrels per day. It is not even a comparison. That's why I love that it says that the Venezuelan oil is tiny and replaceable. How much are you paying for gas right now? Everybody in the chat, how much are you paying for gas right now? Huh? Now, every nominee actually cares about, now, the part everybody actually cares about. You filled up today and it was under $3. CNN is calling it unexpected. Me, I'm calling it the fastest economic dopamine to hit in modern history. This is like getting a stimulus check right before Christmas. Gas prices are so low that the goods are coming down. Who understands trucking? Who understands trucking and logistics? Who understands that when gas prices go down, the cost of goods go down because trucks who bring you your goods add costs to your goods when they have to pay more gas? Do you understand trucking and logistics and how trucking and logistics affect the price of goods in America? Hello? Does anybody understand? When the gas prices go down, goods go down because truck drivers pay less in gas to ship your products. That's just a fact, America. That's just a fact, America. That's just a fact, America. I'm calling it the fastest economic dopamine hit in modern history. We're talking 20 states under $2.75. Can I get that? Can I get it? Can I get that in the chat? I said 20 states under $2.75. Do you know that's Christmas presents? I said that's Merry Christmas. I said that's Merry Christmas. I said Merry fucking Christmas, nigga. Merry fucking Christmas, nigga. $2.75 a gallon. That is money in your pocket. I asked one of my audience members, I said, how much did you pay last year at this time? They said $3.88. How much money is that in your pocket? That's over $2. I said that's over $50 a week for some people. Some people who drive a Ford F-150, everybody got an SUV. Everybody got an SUV. Arnold said $2.50 in Utah. Arnold said gas is $2.50 in Utah. Do you know that means Arnold can buy Christmas presents? Gas under Biden in Los Angeles, I'm going to just ask Grope. Since we know it's Grope and there's a lot of bitches in the chat, so we're going to just ask Grope. What was the highest gas prices under Biden? What was the highest gas? What was the highest gas got under Biden? I remember $8 a gallon. I remember $7. Somebody said $7. It was $7. How high was the highest gas under Biden? I remember $8 because I'm in California. We have the most. California has the unique gas. We have the most expensive gas because Gavin Newsom and the Democrats. We have a special formula. We're the only state. We're the only state with this special gas. We pay more than everybody because of the Democrat liberals and the EPA. They said California hit $6.43. I think that's an average because you just said 7, and I've seen more than that in San Francisco. I think that's an average because in San Francisco it was higher. But they said the highest it hit under Biden was $6.43. That's double what it is. That's more than double. So if your gas is $2.50, that means you're paying less than half of what you paid. Do you get that? That is a stimulus check. Under Biden, gas, $6.50. Right now, $2.50. That means you're paying less than half of what you paid when Biden was president. That's money in your pocket. Thank you, Trump. That's money in your pocket. Thank you, Trump. We can't argue some of this stuff. Some of this stuff cannot be argued because I asked earlier, how much did you pay for eggs? How much did you pay for eggs under Biden? How much are you paying for eggs now? If you add these things up, then that means Christmas presents. Do you guys understand? That means Christmas presents. When people are wondering how I'm gonna buy Christmas presents, that's Christmas presents right there. That's Christmas presents right there. Do you understand? We're talking 20 states under $2.75. Is it Saudi Arabia flooding the market? Is this Trump's new energy dominance, EOs? Or is it literally the fear of God being put in the OPEC because they think Trump will glass half of Latin America? We run the numbers. Scenario time. Best case scenario for Maduro. He folds, flees to Havana, gas stays cheap forever. Worst case, Iran starts shipping drones to Caracas and we're in another forever war by Easter. Most likely case, limited marine landing, quick regime change, Trump declares victory on True Social, gas hits $2.49 by Memorial Day. We already got 250. Place your bets in the comments. How many people think what it's going to do? Do you think Iran backs Venezuela and we get into a forever war? Or do we get Trump, P. Hegeseth, go into Venezuela quickly, do a regime change and keep the gas prices low? Remember, we're only 11 months into the presidency. All right. If you're still watching this, instead of filling up your tank for the low gas price and a Happy Meal, smash the like button right now. Drop a comment with your gas price right now and subscribe, because tomorrow we're going live the second anything else explodes, figuratively or literally. Until then, stay strapped in, stay gas, and stay free. I'm out. Thank you guys for watching, man. Another fire show. Another fire show. Double tap at the like button. 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 We almost hit 100. We almost hit 100. Double tap at the like button. We almost hit 100. Woo! We had a hell of a show. Whoa, that MAGA. Whoa, that MAGA. Whoa, that MAGA. We had a hell of a show today. Woo! Fired up and ready to go. Fired up and ready to go. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., between 11 and 12. Back at it like a crack addict. Automate like a phobematic. Built for tragedy, made for static. It's your boy, Perfect Timing Podcast, back with the blast, in and out with a dash every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m., 12 a.m., top of the mid-morning podcast with me. Top of the mid-morning podcast. Oh my God, the 49ers. We are the 49ers. Hold on, man. Hold on, man. I forgot about the 49ers. Hold on, man. Hold on, man. The 49ers, you know I'm a Browns fan. I wore my Browns jersey last week. I'm supporting Shula Sanders. I love Deion Sanders, but the 49ers had to whoop the Browns' ass. But the Browns and Deion Sanders' son had a great touchdown. I love you. I love the Browns since I was a kid, but I was born in San Francisco, so I'm a 49ers fan. But if I had to pick one other team, I always loved the Cleveland Browns. I always loved the Dog Pound. So, you know, it was a horrible team for Schuler to go to. But Cleveland Browns defensive tackle Malik Collins suffered a season-ending quad injury late Sunday, 26-8 loss to the San Francisco 49ers. At Huntington Bakefield, the 32-year-old had been having a career best season with 6.5 sacks, 13 quarterback hits, 25 tackles, and a fumble recovery through 12 games before needing surgery. Tension boiled over when Browns players accused 49ers receiver Juan Jennings of trash talking during the stoppage, promoting sharp post-game words from Shelby Harris and Myles Garrett. With the Browns at 3-9, Collins' absence adds pressure to the defense, relying heavily on Garrett amid other injuries. The Niners have won 3 in a row.
That's exactly why they punched the nuts.
Let's check this out. Then Browns is out here woofing. The Browns is out here woofing, but, you know, just take the loss, man. The Browns out.
He's a hoe, and I want that known. Like, I see why he got punched in the nuts, because that's some, like, he says some things that you should not say to another man ever, but, like, I don't respect it because you say that, then run behind your O-line. That's some real soft shit, and I want that known. I see exactly why they punched the nuts. I'm surprised nobody punched him in the jaw yet. He's a hoe, and I want that known. Like, I see why he got punched in the nuts, because that's some, like, he says some things that you should not say to another man ever, but, like, I don't respect it because you say that, then run behind your O-line. That's some real soft shit, and I want that known. I see exactly why they punched the nuts. I'm surprised nobody punched him in the jaw yet.
So this is Cleveland Browns. This Cleveland Browns complaining about Juan, who they said Juan Jennings had some trash talk. They said Browns accused 49ers receiver Juan Jennings of trash talk during the game stoppage. So that's the Browns replying to that. Now hold on, Schuler Sanders was asked some more. Schuler Sanders was asked some more bullshit about the coach in the plays. The plays the coach called. I believe Schuler handled it like a gentleman.
Those 4th and 1, those 2 4th and 1s that didn't work. And did you like Kevin having the aggressiveness there, even backed up in your territory?
I mean, first, that's a rude question to ask. If I think, it was a great call by my coach,
Do you like the aggression? Not do you like the call? Like, do you like?
I like being out there playing. so whatever that comes with, it comes with. We're not gonna be here and ever point finger at no coach or do anything like that. That's extremely disrespectful, and that's not even in my place. So I'm thankful for being out there, honestly, and I'm thankful that he trusts us as an offense to be able to go out there and be able to execute. Did we execute? No, we didn't. But I'm just thankful that we have that trust.
Those 4th and 1, those 2 4th and 1s that didn't work. And did you like Kevin having
a complete gentleman? Let's watch it again. Schuler Sanders, complete gentleman. This is how he responded.
Those 4th and 1, those 2 4th and 1s that didn't work. And did you like Kevin having the aggressiveness there, even backed up in your territory?
I mean, first, that's a rude question to ask. If I think it was a great call by my coach,
Do you like the aggression? Not do you like the call? Like, do you like?
I like being out there playing. so whatever that comes with, it comes with. We're not gonna be here and ever point finger at no coach or do anything like that. That's extremely disrespectful, and that's not even in my place. So I'm thankful for being out there, honestly, and I'm thankful that he trusts us as an offense to be able to go out there and be able to execute. Did we execute? No, we didn't. But I'm just thankful that we have that trust.
Good job, Schuler. Good job, young man. Good job. Good representation. Now, a lot of people wondering because that he got picked 5th and then he got benched. So I wanted to play this because they said I want everybody to know Schuler Sanders is basically he's going to be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, and I'm so proud of that young man for just representing his family, representing football, America. It's America and football go hand in hand, baby. God, football. In the country, right? It's God, football, and family, right? God, football. Can I get that in the chat? Can I get God, football, and family in the chat? God, football, and family in the chat.
I'd have to look at it, Mary Kay. Obviously, he's battling like all of our guys are battling. I know there's plays he wants back, but we'll look at it. We'll correct it.
Will you start him next week?
Yes.
You've still taken this week by week, or are you prepared to say that he's kind of your guy?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into all that, Mary Kay, other than to say we all have to just play better. I'd have to look at it, Mary Kay. Obviously, he's battling like all of our guys are battling. I know there's plays he wants back, but we'll look at it. We'll correct it.
Will you start him next week?
Yes.
Will you start him next week? Yes. And then she asked, are you willing to say that Schuler is now the quarterback?
You've still taken this week by week, or are you prepared to say that he's kind of your guy?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into all that, Mary Kay, other than to say we all have to just play better.
Are you willing to say that Schuler Sanders is your guy? He said he's not willing to say that, but Schuler Sanders is going to start next week. And for all intents and purposes, Schuler Sanders is now quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Schuler Sanders is now quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, man. I'm so proud of that young man. Double tap hit the like button. Double tap hit the like button. The Niners won, but I am a fan of Schuler Sanders. I'm actually a fan of the Broncos, so I'm very happy, man. Look, I got a highlight. Let's get some highlights from the game yesterday, tonight, Monday Night Football. Who playing tonight? Who y'all got tonight? Let's take a look. The Browns actually look pretty good, man. The Browns actually look, the Niners have been on the roll. This is our 3rd victory. But if you look at that, the Browns look pretty good. Now, did you guys see this? Another highlight from the game. And this is part of the propaganda. I don't like this shit. I don't like, because this is like what's happening to Trump. People say they create propaganda in the media, and then other people take that as gospel. So Schuler Sanders has to deal with this shit, right? His wide receiver bitching, right? This is wide receiver, Cleveland Browns. They both looking at the route, and he is bitching because he's been paying attention to all the news media, thinking that Schuler Sanders is talk more than he is actually good at his job. Schuler Sanders is actually a great quarterback, and you think you can use the propaganda because you fucked up. This is the Jerry, Judy, and Schuler having a sideline convo. And I'm telling you, this is because of the propaganda in the media. This is because the propaganda in the media makes him believe that Schuler can be a scapegoat. He wants to use Schuler as a scapegoat because of the propaganda in the media. I think it's sick. You need to produce, brother. You need to produce. That's all I'm going to say about that. You need to produce. Just like the coach said, all of us need to play better. And Schuler Sanders is going to be a quarterback. So if I were you, I would want to get along with my quarterback, or you're not going to get nothing passed to you going forward. All right, that was the last, man. I just wanted to give you my 49ers update. Tomorrow, Tuesday morning, y'all let me know. Monday Night Football. Who playing tonight? Let's check who playing Monday Night Football tonight so we know who plays Monday night. I love Monday Night Football because I remember as a kid, it was like a big game. You know how you Super Bowl, they do the big, you know, the thing across the screen and everything. Monday Night Football is big. Who plays Monday Night Football tonight? New York Giants and New England Patriots. So it's an East Coast game. That's a big game because that's a rivalry, right? Those are both New York teams, right? I think both of those teams are in New York. You got upstate New York, and then you got the New York Giants is in the New York City, right? So New England, I don't know if it's in, I don't know if the New England Patriots says they play in MA. So they don't play in, so the New England Patriots are in Massachusetts then. It says they play at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, MA. That's Massachusetts. So New England Patriots are not technically in New York, but to me, that shit is right close. So that's going to be a big rivalry. The Pats are running a 9-game winning streak. I didn't know that. The Pats is kicking ass this year. Did they beat the Pats are running a 9-game winning streak, host the Giants in this lopsided affair. New England favored by 7 points. Giants QB Jackson Dart returns from concussion protocol, but expect a defense slugfest for live updates. Man, we're going to talk about that tomorrow morning, man, because the Pats is supposed to win. They didn't win, so if they lose, that's going to be an upset. So it depends how the game go tonight, but I think the Patriots is going to win, but we'll talk about it tomorrow, 11 a.m. The New York Giants and the New England Patriots is playing tonight. So we'll talk about it tomorrow. Double tap. I'm going to ask a favor. We got 100 people watching. I'm going to ask a favor right now. I don't know if it will work, but I'm going to sincerely ask everyone watching right now to hit the like button. If you don't know how to do that on your cell phone, you can tap the screen twice. There's also in your upper right-hand corner, there are 3 dots. That's called an ellipsis. If you hit that ellipsis, it'll give you the opportunity to hit the like button. Down on the lower right-hand side, on the bottom of the screen on the right-hand side, there's a downward-facing chevron. If you hit that downward-facing chevron, you can hit the like button there also. You can hit the heart emoji. You can hit the laugh emoji to help participate and show impressions. So I'm going to ask a favor to everyone watching right now. I'm going to ask that you hit the like button if you've enjoyed the podcast. Patriots 24, Jets 7. It's not the Jets. It's not the Jets. It's New England Patriots against the New York Giants. Not the Jets. It's the Giants. Did I say the Jets? I apologize if I said the Jets. It's the Giants. It's the New York Giants against the New England Patriots. So it's the Pats and the Giants. I haven't even seen the Giants. Now that you just say the Jets, I haven't even seen the Giants play football in a long time. I think because I'm in California, the Giants don't come on TV, but I'm just thinking in my head, damn, what their uniform look like now. I remember the Giants was red, white, and blue, right? They had a blue helmet with the Giants in white and red line, but I haven't seen the Giants play on television in a long time. Oh, for sure, Queen. For sure, Queen. She said, thank you for shouting out New York. For sure, Queen. Oh, that's a beautiful thumbnail, too. That's a beautiful thumbnail. You Puerto Rican? I like me a Puerto Rican Meekin. Huh? Speaking Puerto Rican. I'm speaking so that you know. You know? I'm speaking so that you know. I think they got that rookie quarterback from Florida State. Is that right? Is that right? How again fail? What are you guys talking about, Adam? Get your ass up out of here. Get your ass up out of here. I think they got that quarterback. All right, we got him up out of here. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about the game. Shout out to you, Queen Lear. And Queen, I saw you earlier. I saw you earlier, Queen. That's why I didn't delete you. I saw you earlier. You've been participating. Go ahead and subscribe. Queen Lear 1, I saw you in my comments earlier, and you have been participating, and you have been participating on a level where you're actually listening to the information and you're making intelligent commentary. I thank you for watching. I thank you for paying attention. I thank you for listening. So thank you, Queen. Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. I have been watching you in my chat. You're so pretty that you kind of stand out. So I saw you earlier. So thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe. Today we had a great show. I just gave you proof. Pete Hegseth, Department of War, completely sanctioned hits. Over 80 people dead in 21 boats. So it's like this false line. You know what I'm saying? The Democrats like to draw this fake line in the sand. Like they want you to be mad over a second missile, but they don't tell you that they've already took out 21 boats and 80 drug dealers at the bottom of the ocean. So why are we upset about these two in this second missile? The only reason we're talking about this today is because the Epstein file story died. The only reason you're knowing about Venezuela today is because there was no Epstein story. I said it the whole time. It was a hoax. There is no Trump, Epstein, anything. There is only thing you're going to find in Epstein files is how close he was to the Democratic Party. He was so close to the Democratic Party that the DNC still has $32,000 of Jeffrey Epstein money. Do you understand, for the Republicans to be as dirty as the Democrats, you would have to find Republicans who still have Jeffrey Epstein dollars. They can't find a Republican that Jeffrey Epstein donated to. I caught Jasmine Crockett in a lie. Jasmine Crockett said Jeffrey Epstein donated to Republicans too. But when fact checked, it turned out the Jeffrey Epstein that she found on the tax returns was a Jeffrey Epstein from New Jersey, a dentist, not the felony Jeffrey Epstein. The felony Jeffrey Epstein only gave money to Democrats. You can't make this up. Jasmine Crockett is the reason I can say this definitively. Jeffrey Epstein, who was convicted of a felony, only gave money to Democrats. How do we know that? Because your friend, the idiot, Jasmine Crockett, without doing proper research, she had to admit on television that she went on to the Congress floor and gave a speech about Republicans without researching the information properly, and she had to apologize. She said Jeffrey Epstein donated to Republicans also, but when further fact checked, what we found out, Jeffrey Epstein the Jeffrey Epstein that donated to Republicans was a dentist. The Jeffrey Epstein that was convicted of felonies never donated money to a Republican. Beyond that, Jeffrey Epstein donated so much money to the Democrats that they still have $32,000 of Jeffrey Epstein money. Now, why are we not talking about the Epstein files this week? We are not talking about the Epstein files this week because there is nothing damaging to Donald Trump, and the Democrats run your media. CNN, MSNBC, if there was anything damaging to Donald Trump in the Epstein files, it would be headline news because the liberal Democrats run the media. We are talking about Venezuela, despite being on the 21st boat. Listen to what I'm saying. The topic today was Venezuela and a follow-through boat strike with 2 missiles, despite our actions in Venezuela starting in September, and we have killed over 80 drug dealers and we have blown up over 21 boats. This is the distraction again and propaganda by the Democrats. It's not one boat. Pete Hegseth and the Department of War have blown up 21 boats and have killed 80 drug dealers. Why are we focusing on these 2 today? It's because the Democrats have no policy and the Democrats have nothing. It's a nothing burger. Everything the Democrats have been pulling out is a nothing burger. The reality is we have peace in Russia and the Ukraine. We have peace in Israel and Gaza, and we are going and tackling drugs at the door. They have shut down airspace. Donald Trump has shut down Venezuelan airspace, and Pete Hegseth said that any drug dealer needs to understand if you try to do what those boats have been doing, you will end up at the bottom of the ocean. Do you guys understand? Pete Hegseth has killed over 80 drug dealers, 21 boats, and he said this is a message to any other drug dealers. If you try to bring drugs into America, you're going to get blown up and end up at the bottom of the ocean. To support Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump administration has shut down airspace in Venezuela. No planes can fly in or out. That's how serious this administration is about drugs. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. We will follow up on these stories tomorrow. We have a lot more to talk about. And I am so excited. I'm so excited to have you here. And what do you guys think it is? So why is Pete Hegseth, why is it 80 people dead in 21 boats? Why is this happening? And why don't you know these facts? No all caps, no paragraphs. 21 boats, not this follow through. 21 boats have been blown up and 80 drug dealers have been killed. Why don't you know these facts? Now, and also, I agree with Pete. I agree with Pete when he says, I agree with Pete. When he's
people who are no longer able to
I agree with Pete.
War experts.
I agree with Pete. You know why I agree with Pete Hegseth? Because look at this. I want everybody to take a look. I'm gonna do my best to make it clear. It's a fast boat at 3 o'clock in the morning coming toward America at 100 knots. What would you do? This is a fast boat at 3 o'clock in the morning without a license, without permission to be in Southcom region. What do we do?
War experts are saying that that was illegal, that killing people who are no longer able to fight is a war crime. What is your view and what questions do you have for the Pentagon?
Congress does not have information that had occurred. Both the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, and ranking members have opened investigations. Obviously, if that occurred, that would be very serious, and I agree that would be an illegal act.
But that has not occurred. Do you guys hear that? That has.
Experts are saying that that was illegal, that killing people who are no longer able to fight is a war crime. What is your view and what questions do you have for the Pentagon?
Congress does not have information that had occurred. Both the chairman of the...
Did you hear that? Congress does not have information that had occurred. That's a great way to end today's show. I'm out, you guys. Have a good day. Have a good night. I'll see y'all tomorrow.